I'm reading the notice of the meeting to all members of the eThekwini Municipal Council in terms of Section 29, subsection 1 of the Local Government Municipal Structures Act number 117 of 1998. Members are hereby notified that an ordinary meeting of the eThekwini Municipal Council will be held on Tuesday at 10 o'clock on the 31st of May 2022 at the Inkosi Albert Luthuli International Convention Center.
Thank you very much, Acting City Manager, Mr. Mpele. I would like to officially welcome wonke amakhosi aseNdlunkulu ayingxenye yalo mhlangano namhlanje, and welcome all councillors, officials, ihambeli zethu kanye nawo wonke abaphuma emkhakheni yendaba eyahlukahlukene, and the members of the public who are joining this meeting through live streaming. I also want to take this opportunity to formally apologize to the members of the media and our guests and council members for starting our meeting late. We were supposed to start at 10 o'clock. And also my apology is directed to the members of the public who have been waiting from 10 o'clock till now. We had to delay because there were some other critical issues to be processed by the executive, as I mentioned earlier when I was explaining the reason why we've delayed. Today's council meeting, in terms of our program, we plan to deal with two sessions. The first session is a special council to consider the budget as per the notices that were issued and the invitation to all of you. Then the second session will deal with the ordinary council. That will be the end of the day. I will then request that we declare the national anthem and observe the moment of silence for personal reflection, prayer for any form of silence in preparation for the meeting. Let's receive the national anthem and the prayers. Let's all stand up. Thank you very much. You may be seated.
On a point of order, Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I will now request the IEC team to play the safety video.
Speaker,
Let me get the safety video.
Speaker, on a point of order.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Speaker. I think there's something Speaker Officer could finally explain. Usually we start with the African anthem, but today we have started with Nkosi Sikelel. So it shows some element of ungahloniphi, of which I will say it's a nonsense. Because this is not how things are done here. We're starting with something else, then ekugcineni nizosifakela enye into ongafanele ukufanele ingene ekugcineni. Besicela nje ukuthi withdraw on that one. Thanks, Speaker.
Okay, thank you. Apologies for what happened, but the language we are using is not in order. But the point we are raising
I
is,
withdraw, Speaker. I withdraw.
yeah, the point you are raising is noted, and I apologize for the technical team that was playing the sound. Apologies. Let's get the safety video. IEC team.
As a leading world-class events facility, we make your safety our number one priority. Please give us your attention for a few minutes to take you through some of the important health and safety information. Whilst here, please help us to prevent the spread of COVID-19 by following these simple steps. Upon arrival at the Durban ICC, you would have been screened for symptoms by way of a temperature check and a health questionnaire. Please remember to keep a safe distance of at least 1.5 meters from other people at all times. Wear a mask for the duration of the event when not eating or drinking. Avoid touching your face. Wash your hands for 20 seconds using soap and water as often as possible. If you can't wash your hands, use the hand sanitizer provided throughout the facility. If you are experiencing any of the COVID-19 symptoms, please contact one of our staff members who can assist you further. As the Durban ICC is a public space, please remember to keep your personal belongings safe and with you at all times. We have many bathrooms for your use around the venue. They are clearly marked in the foyer and concourse areas. The Durban ICC is a smoke-free building, but we do have clearly marked smoking zones outside the main entrance and opposite the concourse area. Please make use of these areas and the ashtrays provided when you smoke. In the event of a medical emergency, please dial the emergency number 031-360-1007 for assistance. The Durban ICC has developed a very simple emergency evacuation plan that everyone must be familiar with. Our staff are specially trained and will be there to assist you in following this plan. In the event of an evacuation, an announcement will be made to leave the venue. Please remain calm and walk swiftly to the nearest emergency exit in the concourse area. These exit doors are clearly marked. Security officers and the marshals will also help to direct you out of the building. Please do not use any lifts or escalators in the event of an emergency. Once outside, you will be directed to the nearest assembly point by the marshals for your safety. Please wait at the assembly point until the venue has been cleared and a marshal deems it safe for you to return to your seats. Thank you for your time and enjoy this event.
Thank you very much, ICC team. Councillor Kwala, I see your hand.
Angibonge somlomo. Ngibingelele endlini. Cha somlomo njenga-IFP besifisa mhlambe uma kufanele kuthelelana amanzi siyixoxe le. Kusukele emabhida mhla ubekwa somlomo. Ama-mic aqala ngalelo langa ukuthi thina la enkhathini angasebenzi. Namhlanje ngisho kuyi-visual. Angazi somlomo uma ukhona esakona njenga-IFP cha sicela ukuxolisa namhlanje nisithethelele amaqabane akrizayo akuqatshwe yena kuyasetshenzwa siyacela nje somlungu.
Thank you, Councillor Gwala. Thank you, Councillor, for bringing that to my attention. I will then request to the team that is looking our sound system to make sure that we don't experience problem that we normally experience when we are using this venue. In fact, it's not true that is the IFP that is normally having this problem. In most cases, all of us, even myself, and the city manager and my team in the front, we experienced the same before. But thanks, Babu Kwala, ukuthi usikhumbuze i-team ngiyacela ukuthi iqinisekise ukuthi akusiphini lokho. Councillors, we now receive the official announcements. I'm sure they are attached to your package. The Municipal Council continues to work tirelessly to fast-track the restoration of critical services that were disrupted during the devastating April floods and those experienced in mid-May. The city sent its condolences to the families or the family of the late famous South African actor, Jamie Bartlett, who was called to rest on the 23rd of May 2022, and all other families that have lost their loved ones during this month of May. The month of May, councillors, is recognized as Africa Month, the time when the continent of Africa commemorates the founding of the OAU. The city appreciates all initiatives that were embarked on in celebration of the Africa Month. Councillors are advised that there is a workshop scheduled by SARS to capacitate councillors on tax matters and obligations, with the focus mainly on the following areas. This is very much important, councillors, that you take note of this, because we have prepared it to assist all of you. The workshop will look at the taxation of councillors' remuneration, claims against cell phones and data allowance, travel allowance, medical expenses, donations, seasons, submissions of tax return, and other related matters. This workshop, councillors, will be visual on Friday, the 3rd of June, 2022 at 10 o'clock. The link will be circulated to all councillors. The last 2 points in our announcement is an attention that is brought to council members of Rules of Order 26, subsection 8 to 9, which indicate that a councillor may not vote on a question unless they were present when the question was put to the meeting, and the duration, the taking of a vote. A councillor may not leave or enter the council chamber. During the process of voting, there will be no movement, so that we manage our process easily. Councillors are brought to the attention of Rules of Order 16, subsection 1, from A to E, and 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9. As per the rules, councillors are requested to conduct themselves in a respectful manner, to refrain from interrupting the proceeding, and are encouraged to conduct business with highest decorum and integrity that the occasion and the residents of the municipality deserve. Best wishes to all councillors celebrating their birthday this month. Thank you, councillors. We will now quickly move to the Speaker's report. This report is presented to Council just for an update on some of the things. The eThekwini Municipality held ward committee elections from the weekend of the 13th to the 20th, and the 20th, I'm sorry, and the 27th March 2022, as per the statutory requirements. It is being noted that elections in 2 wards, namely is Ward 39 and Ward 97, remain outstanding. Following the elections held on the above dates, all elected members were subjected to a verification process to ascertain that they all met the membership criteria as outlined in the rules regulating the establishment of and the operation of ward committees. From the verification process, some wards have vacancies, since some members did not meet the membership criteria as indicated below. The vacancies in the respect of wards will be filled upon the sitting of the ward committee meeting. Ward committee members that qualified through the verification process were then invited for registration in a registration process that has been scheduled for the weekend, the 14th, the 15th, 21st, 22nd, and 28 and 29 May 2022. Over the 3 weekends, a total of 1,042 members were registered, and with 135 still outstanding due to a number of reasons. Council to note the following process toward completing the establishment of ward committees is the inauguration or the induction of all elected qualifying ward committee members. The induction has been scheduled for Sunday, the 5th of June 2022 at the Inkosi Albert Lutuli International Convention Center, the ICC. We extend the invitation to councillors who will be available on that day, and the invitation will be circulated to all councillors. Councillors, in terms of the code of conduct, councillors are required to at least quarterly have report back session or meetings in their respective conferences on service delivery matters and on decision taken by the Municipal Council. In line with the back to basic strategy, it is a requirement that councillors report to the Speaker of Council on all community engagement held. It is, however, a concern that most councillors have not been holding such engagement as per the statutory requirement. I'm aware that the issue of budget had an effect or an impact on this, but the members of the public, they are complaining to us about some of councillors who are not convening these meetings. It is concerning to note that from January to 2022 to date, only the following meetings have been held. In January, there was no meeting that was convened. In February, there were 25. We performed much better in February. In March, there were 2 meetings. In April, there were 4 meetings. In May, there were only 3 meetings. We have 111 wards in our municipality. It's not a good reflection if in a month of March, there were only 2 community meetings that were convened to report back on council matters. Councillors, I think, is an area that as council want to register our concern and make an appeal to all of you to respect this and make sure that you convene these meetings. Councillors, again, you are being urged to hold report back session as per the requirement. This report, as I've indicated, is submitted for consideration. Thank you very much. We'll now move to the confirmation of quorum. Can I have the indication on the board so that we see numbers? Secretariat, can you confirm numbers? Thank you very much. Numbers, councillors, are displayed on the screen. Looking at the number, we are 204, 215. Okay, yes. Councillors, we are 215. Therefore, we meet quorum. We can start our meeting because we meet quorum. Now, I will request the city manager to present applications of leave as submitted. Acting City Manager.
Thank you once more, Honorable Speaker. There's just one leave of absence from Councillor J. Aesop. He wants to leave at 3 o'clock for personal commitments. That's the only one we've received. Thank you.
Thank you, Acting City Manager. Councillors, is the leave of absent accepted? Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll now request any councillor who wish to declare the interest. Anyone want to declare? Declaration of interest. We have a standard declaration that we normally receive from Vice Van Reed. Yeah, it's a standard declaration, but it looks like it's not in vain. Thank you very much. It looks like there's none. Councillors, in terms of our agenda, we were supposed to table the budget, but I've just got an indication that, as you all aware, that the executive committee was convened early in the morning today and conclude its business a little bit later, which caused the delay to this meeting. The Secretariat has to prepare a report soon after the meeting of the executive. Now, the report that have to be presented, after it was typed, they've sent the information to City Hall to photocopy documents so that you all have copies of the report to be presented. Now, while we are waiting the delivery of those reports, I'm told they are on their way. So that we save time, I will then request that while we are waiting for the delivery of the report. We deal with the council agenda, but we deal with the questions that are part of our agenda. As soon as I get an indication that documents are ready, that are in the venue, we then go back to the item of the budget. Apologies, councillors, to the media, our guests, and the members of the public for that. As I've explained, it's because soon after the executive committee meeting, a report have to prepare to be presented to council. I think councillors, we will all agree with that so that we don't wait and save time. Councillor Graham?
Thank you, Speaker, and good afternoon to yourself and to colleagues. I think that we understand the restrictions that are before us, but I think that there's also a lot of people who have been waiting for the tabling of the budget, watching online, members of the media, that kind of thing. Is it not possible that we could start with some process? I believe that all councillors have received the budget, so it's not, what we were waiting for is the report from EXCO that says what happened in EXCO. Is it not possible we could start with the reports of the mayor or the speech of the mayor or something along that line? Because we've got a lot of people, it's not just about our convenience, but also about people who are waiting, for us to conclude our business.
Thank you, Councillor Graham. Councillor Pichi Mavunda, Deputy Mayor.
Ngicela ukubingelela ngibonge somlo ngisupporta isiphakanyiso sika Councillor Graham.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone with a contrary view? Thank you very much. Thank you for councillors for that understanding. I will then request His Worship the Mayor, Councillor Mxolisi Kaunda.
Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just on an issue of procedure, the meeting that we are in at the moment is the normal council meeting as per notice that was read out by the city manager. Because the budget is dealt with in a special council meeting, if we elect to start with those processes, can we then agree to defer or defer the normal council meeting for now, and then the city manager reads the notice for the special council meeting which will deal with the budget? Once we complete that, we then revert to the normal meeting. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Njomane. I think there was a mistake in terms of the plan for the meeting. We should have started with the special council meeting to discuss the agenda. That was our plan. Maybe if we read a wrong notice, it was a mistake. I think, councillors, it can be corrected so that we are not in conflict with the rules. But I can see before we do that, I see Councillor Madlala is raising his hand. But Madlala?
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. I wanted to first suggest what has already been covered by the Leonard, Mr. Mhlongo over there, but also to suggest that for completeness, when we engage on that process, couldn't, while we wait, a report of EXCO be read, especially the part that refers to the budget, to say we present the EXCO, these are the recommendations, so that when we start the process, we do not stop midway to await the part where the report is presented. That the report is presented, we note that it's not in front of all of us, but at least the presentation of the report is done, so that when we start, we run full throttle and complete the process. That is my submission, Chairperson. Thanks.
But Madlala, if I hear you well, you are saying even while we don't have a report in front of us, but we allow members of the executive to present resolutions taken from the executive meeting in the morning before we allow the mayor to present the budget. Then the report will come later. That's what we're trying to say. Okay, thank you very much. I think you are in line with Councillor Graham and Bob Mavunda that are saying there is a hand that's right on my far left. Yes, Councillor?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I understand in terms of legal proceedings, we should be calling for a suspension of standing order in order for us to proceed with the new item on the agenda.
Yeah, sorry, Councillor. My technical team, there are some mics here where when councillors are speaking, I can't hear. Like the councillor is speaking now. Can you please use maybe a mic next to you so that I can get clearly exactly what I'm trying to communicate?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My understanding in terms of legal proceedings, we should be calling for suspension of standing orders before a new item will be placed on the agenda, as you alluded to, as your legal advisor alluded to. Once that is done, and then the proceedings will then be carried forward.
Councillors, is there anyone who hear what the councillor is saying? Please assist me, because his mic, I can't hear.
I think, Speaker, he needed to just clear his throat.
Yeah, I know, councillors, I'm serious. I can't because of the sound system, of which I'm very much concerned, as I've raised my concern earlier about Umthetho.
Chair, I think what the councillor is saying is what has already been agreed to, so there's no need for him to repeat.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks. Councillors, please, councillors, behave. Councillor, I'm sorry, I can't hear you because of the sound. I then suggest that we proceed, councillors, to save time. Then I will allow the mayor to table the third report of the executive committee.
The notice first, the notice.
But before that, I will request the acting city manager to read the notice, then the mayor will follow, and the city manager will table the budget, the item, sorry. City manager.
Once again, greeting to you, Honorable Speaker, and the protocol is observed. The notice of the special council meeting to all members of eThekwini Municipal Council in terms of Rule 5, subsection 4 of the Rules of Order by Law of 2014 as amended. Members are hereby notified that a special meeting of the eThekwini Municipal Council to approve annual budget will be held on Tuesday, the 31st of May 2022 at 2 o'clock at the Inkosi Albert Lutuli International Convention Center. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Acting City Manager. I will now request His Worship the Mayor to table the third report of the executive, then the Acting City Manager after will read the subject title. His Worship.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Sibingelele sikhuleke kumakhosi aseNdlunkulu and all councillors present and our guest. On behalf of the Executive Committee, I wish to table the third report of the Executive Committee to the Council. I thank you.
Thank you very much, His Worship. City Manager, then after City Manager, I will suggest that we receive the summary of the executive meeting in the morning. I believe that the mayor will assist us on that because we have done every report, but I will get an indication before the mayor take the podium so that we cover the proposal made by Sozabe so that councillors understand what was the resolution from the executive meeting. City Manager. Councillors, sorry about isiphithiphithi la phambili. Senziwa ukuthi ucity manager afuna ayifune report imeyikhona. Njengoba ingekho manje ayikho report azoyitheplisha. Ile report engithe isendleleni. Ngenxa ke yalokho sizokwenza lokhu ebesikade sikhulume ngako. I'm not sure from the members of the executive who will assist me to summarize the resolution of the executive before I invite His Worship to address it, or we'll start with inviting the mayor to come and present the budget. I suggest we do that so that we avoid more confusion. Let me invite His Worship, the Mayor, Councillor Mxolisi Kaunda, to present the budget. Councillor Kaunda, His Worship.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, Councillor Nyawose. Sifisa ukukhuleka kumakhosi asendlunkulu akhona phakathi kwethu nabantwana basendlunkulu. The Deputy Mayor of our municipality, Councillor Mavundla, the Leader of the Opposition in the Council, Councillor Graham, members of the Executive Committee, the Whip of the Council, Councillor Ntuli, all the councillors present today, the Deputy Chair of Chairs in the KZN Legislature, Honorable Makhosazane Zungu, who's also present today, Professor Moyo, from Durban University of Technology, the Deputy Vice Chancellor there. Ms. Palisa Pili, the CEO of Durban Chamber of Commerce, in her absentia, she was here, she just left. Mr. Ndabo Koza, the CEO of Ushaga Marine, the representatives of the ICC present, the Community Policing Forum, and all forums on crime prevention that are present today. I recognize Mr. Mkizi, eThekwini Interfaith Desk, Bishop Jali, and other representatives. eThekwini Disability Forum that is also represented today. The organized labor representatives, Dr. Nzimande, the District AIDS Council co-chair in our municipality, eThekwini Men's Sector representatives, led by Bishop Mchunu. And I'll take this opportunity to greet the leadership of the revolutionary movement, the African National Congress, who deployed us to this municipality present, the RSC members and the officials present. All political parties represented today, the city manager and the entire administration of our municipality, the members of the media, the committee members who are participating to this budget presentation, and all protocol observed. Honorable Speaker, we converge today under the theme, Unity and Cohesion towards building a thriving social solidarity economy, people-centered development and integrated growth within our city. The floods disaster that we have experienced in our municipality and the province calls on us to demonstrate more than ever before our utmost commitment to the socio-economic development of the people of eThekwini. We draw inspiration as we celebrate the Africa Month. We draw inspiration from Thomas Sankara, a true champion of African Renaissance and one of the greatest revolutionaries who championed the liberation and progressive radical reforms for the people of Burkina Faso. Sankara displayed exemplary leadership by implementing programs for social, ecological, and economic change to improve the lives of his fellow citizens. Honourable Speaker, as the leadership of eThekwini Municipality, we commit ourselves to follow in his footsteps to change the lives of our residents for the better. Honourable Speaker, in memory of our late Zulu King, Umdlogombane, and our late Queen Mantombi, will continue to seek guidance from His Majesty King Mrs. Zulu Kazwelithini as we tackle challenges that confront us daily. We want to declare today on this auspicious occasion that despite the setbacks occasioned by a number of calamities in the past 3 years, this ANC-led government has risen to the occasion and ushered in a revolutionary program to lead our city out of the abyss of social and economic challenges. We commit to leading the city into a new pedestal of change and people-centered economic transformation and development growth. Honourable Speaker, we have converged here today against the backdrop of our consecutive disasters that have left a trail of destruction amounting to billions of rands in our municipality. Sadly, these devastating events have cost many lives and livelihoods, not forgetting that hundreds of people who were once homeowners are now displaced and living in temporary shelters. With that, I'll request, as the Speaker has done so, I'll request that we bow our head to salute and respect those who have passed on during these floods. That also include our own employees from the Department of Water and Sanitation. Can we bow our heads? May their departed souls rest in eternal peace. I thank you. Of all the disasters we have seen in recent years, the April floods appear to be the worst we have experienced in 100 years. In this regard, we send our condolences to the bereaved families. We also convey our sympathies to those who have not found closure as they continue to search for the remains of their loved ones. Over 449 people died from this catastrophe, and more than 60 are still missing in our municipality. Our search and recovery team's efforts are ongoing, and we would like to assure all affected families that we'll walk this journey with them until they find closure. As the leadership of the municipality, we understand the pain of families that are still searching, and we appeal for patience and calm as our rescue efforts still continue. Honourable Councillors, these floods resulted in many of our residents and communities being unable to access basic services, such as water and electricity. Abantu bakithi abaningi basahlezi esimweni esinzima sokungabi namanzi kanye nogesi ngenxa yezikhukhula nomonakalo owenziwe lezi zikhukhula kakhulukazi kwinqalasizinda yethu njengedolobha laseThekwini. We commend our teams for working day and night to restore provision of these services timelessly. Although many of our employees were affected by this disaster, they continue to serve the public. We'd like to pay tribute to all our fallen staff members who died on duty, trying to deliver much-needed services to the public. We pledge our support to all families that are in bereavement. Honorable Speaker, we are responding to this disaster. We are still reeling from the adverse effects of COVID-19 pandemic and July civil unrest. You'll recall that in order to cushion our communities and affected businesses, we came up with a comprehensive economic recovery plan. Sadly, the recent floods reversed the gains we were beginning to make. Despite these challenges, nothing is going to take wind off our sails. We have proven to be a resilient city each time we are confronted with adversity. We call upon all sectors of society, including political parties, to continue to work together, irrespective of our political orientation. We also want to caution some leaders within ourselves as this collective to desist from using this disaster to advance their political agendas. This ANC-led municipality will continue to meet the needs of all its residents, irrespective of their race, gender, class, and creed. This is in line with our historical mission of building a non-racial, non-sexist, democratic, as outlined in our founding document, the Freedom Charter. We are still the most unequal society in the world. This reality means that we must intensify our program to change the status quo. It is for this reason that the State of the City address is not about making empty promises, but about shedding light on the commitments we have made to improve the well-being of our residents. At the same time, this budget policy statement is the commitment of this fifth administration to address the triple challenges of poverty, unemployment, and inequality, and that are plaguing our country and our city. This budget speech, Honorable Councillors, is going to outline tangible and clear programs of action to unlock all service delivery bottlenecks for the benefit of all our people. Furthermore, it will lay bare our efforts to create a conducive climate to attract foreign direct investment and will retain the domestic investment that will usher in economic opportunities for ordinary people. Honorable Speaker, we are fully cognizant of the fact that of the geopolitical impasse between Russia and Ukraine and its impact on our economy. As these countries are our trading partners, economists have warned us that we are likely to be hit by high inflation, especially on the grain products and cooking oil. These are part of the food basket of ordinary South Africans. We support the position taken by our government of encouraging constructive engagement between the two countries. We are confident that eventually a peace deal shall be broken. Honorable Speaker, we are equally concerned about the developments in China following the resurgence of the COVID-19 pandemic, Omicron variant, that resulted in Beijing implementing a hard lockdown. We fear that if this is prolonged, there is likelihood of supply chain processing being derailed to the detriment of the developing world, Africa in particular. Honorable Councillors, when we tabled the draft budget for 22-23 in March, the draft budget, we did not anticipate the recent floods which caused extensive damages to our infrastructure, which is estimated at around 3.8 billion rands plus. The floods and subsequent damage to infrastructure have compelled us to reprioritize our budgets by focusing on infrastructure development to improve the quality of service delivery, particularly in the areas of water, electricity, provision of human settlements. It is important to highlight that when preparing this budget, the city conducted extensive consultations with various stakeholders and their views were considered in the final draft budget. On the provision of water, Honorable Speaker, in the previous budget speech, we committed the municipality to invest in water infrastructure to improve water supply in rural and township communities such as Umbumbulu, Gonyameni, Inanda, Tuzuma, Mnini, Kwamakhuta, and many other areas. Umzinyathi. Before the devastating floods, the city, in partnership with Umgeni Water, was already implementing 6 major projects to address water challenges in the following areas: renovation of Durban Heights Water Reservoir, which will be completed before the end of June, the replacement of water aqueduct to maximize water supply in Umlazi Water Reservoir at an estimated cost of 892 million rands. Upgrading of Mbumbulu Pump Station, which will be completed in 2024. Upgrade on the construction of 28 billion Umkomazi Dam, which will also take long. The Lower Umkomazi Water Scheme to be completed in 2025. Hazelmere Water Reservoir upgrade, which will start next year at a cost of 70 million rands. The Lovu River Emergency Scheme, which has already commenced and will be completed in February this year. In addition to these projects, the municipality is implementing the following interventions to change the status of our communities to access water. In Umlazi ngonyameni, umasipala ufake imali engango-67 million ukuthi iqinisekise ukuthi ipipe elikhulu lase elibizwa nge-Southern Aqueduct liyakwazi ukuthi lilungiswe. Kanjalo nenwabi Thungonyameni bulk pipeline nayo ngokunjalo ikwazi ukuthi ilungiswe. Emzinyathi umasipala ufake imali engango-29 million for amaqadini water projects. Sase safaka enye imali engango-27 million iqinisekiseni ukuthi sibeke eceleni le mali ukuthi lapha ezwelibomvu inlet phase project nayo ikwazi ukuthi iqhubeke. The municipality has also allocated 8 million for Ntuzuma Reservoir and a water pump station upgrade ukuthi abantu balapha koNtuzuma koZimangweni koMawudi nakwamashi ingxenye kwamashi bekwazi ukuthi ireservoir yabo ikwazi ukuqala ikhushulwe umthamo wamanzi. 2.5 million ubekwe eceleni ukulungisa lapha kumnini, siphinde si-upgrade amagcino reservoir, sifake futhi namaphampu azokwazi ukuthi ahambise amanzi ngendlela abe nomfutho ofanele ekutheni sikwazi ukunyusa izinga lokudlulisela ngayo amanzi kule mphakathi. Emfume umasipala ufake imali engu-31 million to upgrade water infrastructure in the area ukuthi abantu basemfume kakhulukazi bekwazi ukuthola amanzi njengeminye imiphakathi. Kwamakhutha e-Adams Mbumbulu efolweni nakhona sifake imali engu-54 million rands ekwenzeni isiqiniseko sokuthi siyafaka ama-mains akhona laphaya azokwazi ukuthi amanzi adluliswe ngendlela kule mphakathi, kakhulukazi njengoba kunenkinga yamanzi angaphumi njalo. Siphinde futhi sinyuse silungise amadamu ethamanzi ama-reservoir amabili athinta lezi indawo. Sizophinde si-upgrade kwanyuswa ipipeline yakhona Thandokuhle and kwaNqetho reservoirs sisebenzisa imali engango-59 million rands. Kunemali elinganiselwa ku-15 million yona eyabelwe ukuthi iqinisekise ukuthi sizobe simba ama-boreholes kule mphakathi kakhulukazi eney'nkinga ey'ningi zokuthola amanzi ngesikhathi sisalungisele ukufaka inqalasizinda. We are confident that these projects will go a long way in addressing water challenges and contribute towards attracting more investment in our city. In addition, we are in the process of engaging Umgeni Water to establish the extent to which the timeframes initially set have been negatively impacted by the recent events. Honorable Speaker, it is of paramount importance to point out that in areas such as Adams Mbumbulu and Umzinyathi, we have a challenge of high water consumption. Yingakho kulezi indawo kufanele sinyuse kakhulu inqalasizinda yethu namadamu ethu namapayipi ethu osize ngoba kubonakala sekwande kakhulu izindlu eziningi emphakathini okwenza amanzi engabe saphuma ngendlela. Kanti kokunye futhi okungenayo phakathi kwalokho ukuthi abantu bezixhumela amanzi ngendlela engekho emthethweni. Due to the increase in the number of households in these areas, certain parts of Kwamakhutha as well Adams are now experiencing interruption of water supply. What is compounding our woes is that while most rural areas are accessing some of our services like water supply, they are still not paying for those services. We are currently engaging the Ngonyama Trust with an intention of finding a lasting solution. Hence, there is a report before this council, Honorable Speaker, which will enable us to go out there to engage in Ngonyama Trust once that report has been approved, to have at least a standard payment of 100 Rand in the areas that we have made reference to. Due to rapid urbanization, these areas that were regarded as rural areas saw a dramatic growth of households, resulting in an increase in demand for these services. Honorable Speaker, we cannot ignore the reality of our aging infrastructure that is resulting in water leaks, which are also worsened by illegal connections. We appeal to committee members to work with us and be our eyes and ears to root out this scourge. Equally, we urge committee leaders, including councillors, amakhosi, izinduna, and all leaders in the society to create awareness about the illicit behavior which contributes to water losses. Honorable councillors, as we are moving with speed to become a smart city, we'll soon be using technology to monitor and detect water leaks via satellite. We are happy to announce that the procurement processes are underway in this regard, and we are confident this initiative is going to drastically reduce the water losses that the city is experiencing. Due to the extensive damage to our water infrastructure, our teams work day and night to restore water supply in all areas that were affected by the floods. We have also improved water supply from 30% to 80% in the inner west region, and from 45% to 70% in the outer west region. Significant progress has also been made in the southern region, where our sterling efforts have improved supply from 15% to 85%. Similarly, in the central region, supply has improved from 45% to 72%. Because of the severity of the challenge in the northern region, we have seen a slight improvement from 40% to 60%, which is largely due to our intervention in the Tongati area. There are still challenges in that area. We want to assure the residents of Tongati and other areas that are still experiencing water electricity supply challenges that we are putting all our resources towards finding a lasting solution. We appeal for patience, and we understand the frustration as some repairs will take some time to complete. For example, our water treatment plant in Otongati will take approximately 5 to 6 months to repair at an estimated cost of 30 million rands. We have said to our teams, expedite the process, short-circuit this period so that we start providing people with water adequately. But we need to ensure that the work that is going to be done, there is quality assurance. In the next financial year, the city has set aside over 1 billion for water infrastructure repairs and replacement. However, this figure is likely to increase due to the reprioritization process following our disaster. In terms of electricity, Honorable Speaker, it is not a secret that the national grid is under pressure, as shown by constant load shedding. Our municipalities among metros that account for a substantial number of consumers. We are also home to over 500 informal settlements for which we are providing all basic services, including electricity. In 2021-2022 financial year, the municipality set aside 71 million rand for the electrification of 6,000 households in areas such as Uganda, Umlazi, Falmet, Sianda, Blackburn, Mpola, and Maran Ridge. For 2022-2023 financial year, the municipality will electrify 24 settlements, informal settlements, which include Kwamshazafe, the part that has not yet been electrified, Amatigwa, Echelimnyama, Emmaus, and Botley Brush, Chasworth, and at an estimated cost of 51 million rands. So imphakathi engakabi nogesi ukwenzela ukuthi kungandi usiko lokuthi kuthatha ugesi ngendlela engekho emthethweni izofakelwa ugesi njengoba sibala nje izindawo eziseyinhlelweni, kodwa futhi izokwengezwa nezinye indawo ngoba ngesikhathi kwanda ukuqoqa nokukoleka izimali kamasipala sizobe sizifaka indawo eziningi zikwazi ukungena kwibudget yethu. The increased demand has impacted negatively on our electricity infrastructure, including transformers that are constantly overburdened by the illegal connections, result in them exploding. Annually, the city spends approximately 40 million to replace these transformers. At the same time, we lose over 800 million rands as a result of power and cable theft. Notwithstanding these difficulties, we continue to strive to electrify more homes to improve the lives of our people for the better. Through our collaboration with ESCOM, we have intervened in areas like Jodale in Hammersdale to ensure that residents are legally connected to the grid and to prevent overloading of infrastructure. That is a process in progress. Early this year, we also met with the community of Claremont to outline our program to upgrade electricity infrastructure following complaints of ongoing power outages which are not linked to the load shedding. To address the challenges of electricity infrastructure, the city will invest 2.2 billion rands in the next financial year. This demonstrates our commitment to make meaningful improvement in the lives of our people and to create a conducive environment for economic growth and investments. Honorable Speaker, you'll recall that over 100 power stations were severely affected by the floods, which plunged many parts of our city into darkness. We are pleased to report that all our power stations are now in good working condition and electricity services have been fully restored, but there are few power stations where we are using mobile electrical substations. We continue to respond to complaints about electricity faults as and when they are reported. Honorable Speaker, in line with our energy transition policy, which was adopted by the Council last year, eThekwini is making great progress towards implementing the energy reforms. This policy seeks to mitigate, among other things, the impact of load shedding to the local economy. I can proudly say that we are leading all metros in this process. We are in advance in terms of advanced stage in terms of implementing this. On sanitation, Honorable Speaker, our sanitation infrastructure requires urgent intervention following a number of incidents where our test of seawater projected high levels of E. coli. This has left the city with no option but to close our beaches. Chief among the reasons for closure was that there was a spate of vandalism to our sewage pump stations, resulting in raw sewer ending up in our fresh and sea water. Constant load shedding made matters worse because for these facilities to function, they largely depend on electricity. Siyacela bakwethu labo abantshontsha bebulala ama-valve ethu nabantshontsha ugesi wethu la siphampa khona ukuze udoti wonke uhambe ungangeni olwandle. Sicela bepheze ngalo mkhuba, kuwona umkhuba omuhle loyo. Our interventions in this regard include the procurement of generators in the event of load shedding. We will also be looking into preventing vandalism by installing CCTV cameras that will enable our security personnel to respond with speed in the event of any signs of tampering with our infrastructure. But more than CCTV cameras, we have more eyes. Those eyes are community eyes to watch and also prevent these incidents. As the city, we are also reprioritizing the replacement of aging infrastructure. We are optimistic that the implementation of these interventions is going to arrest all these incidents of raw sewage pollution, polluting our water resources. We continue to have incidents of sewer, manhole blockages, and in response, we have issued a clear directive that the turnaround time to unblock these manholes must be 24 hours. We don't need anything less than that. In all informal settlements within the municipality, we continue to restore the dignity of our residents by ensuring that they have access to basic services, including communal ablution facilities. Following complaints from members of the community about the vulnerability of these facilities, which are in form of containers, the city has resolved to build brick and mortar structures at the cost of 450 million over the next 3 years. Our water and sanitation teams will also embark on an intensive educational campaign to create a sense of ownership of these facilities to prevent vandalism and theft. The city has been grappling with the issue of keeping the city center at secondary CPDs such as Isipingo, Pantown, Verulam, and Otongati clean. This has always been a concern for us as leadership of eThekwini because the CPD is the heartbeat of any city. Equally, our secondary CPDs are a hive of economic activities within the municipality, so we should not compromise when it comes to implementing an effective waste management program. As such, the leadership of the city has been conducting walkabouts in all hotspots areas to identify the kind of interventions required, also using Operation Good Hope to ensure that we intervene in the areas where there are challenges. We then embarked on an aggressive cleaning program, which also attracted the reinforcement and the support from different stakeholders, and using our law enforcement agencies as well. Road infrastructure, honorable councillors, while we are making great progress in the provision of access roads in the township and rural communities, it is rather unfortunate that some of this infrastructure was washed away by the recent floods. Last year, we committed to upgrade 42.5 kilometers of access roads in rural and township communities from gravel to tar. We are pleased to report that the city has been able to achieve over 83% of our target. However, due to the recent floods, some of the road infrastructure was severely damaged, and through the reprioritization of our budget, the city has allocated R1 billion for the new roads and maintenance. We are happy to announce that in the next financial year, the municipality will upgrade 37 kilometers of roads in township and rural areas from gravel to tar. Plans are afoot to rehabilitate 175 kilometers roads throughout the city. To improve road safety, we'll also build pedestrian bridges around schools and areas with high traffic volumes. Honorable Speaker, we are convinced that to advance the cause of development in our communities, we must build adequate road infrastructure which is resilient to all these floods that we have observed. As part of alleviation congestion in the port, we're continuing to engage with Transnet to improve infrastructure, including railway lines, so that we can move some of the cargo from road to rail. This move will significantly improve road safety and the lifespan of our road infrastructure. Honorable Speaker, we are working with Department of Transport to resolve other matters. There are roads that they will be they'll conduct a handover to us as a municipality to look after. We are still conducting the assessments of such assets. Honorable Speaker, the demand for human settlements continues to increase every year. We are also facing a challenge of land invasion and building of illegal structures. The floods that constantly hits our city dictate that we must have a paradigm shift in the manner we address the issue of housing and how we tackle land invasions. Because of the topography of our city, we must ensure that as we rebuild our city, after this disaster, we build a better and a smarter. During these floods, we have noticed that not only informal settlements were affected, but even formal houses were not spared because of the landscape on which they are built. With scientists warning us of worsening global warming, we must be better prepared for disasters linked to severe weather patterns. The city is currently providing accommodation to flood victims in temporary shelters. In the previous financial year, the city delivered the following projects. 1,554 new subsidized houses were built, 7,995 hectares of land was also acquired for future housing projects, 127 pre-1994 houses were upgraded, 1,652 title deeds were submitted to the deeds office for registration, and 1,288 title deeds were handed over to beneficiaries. Honorable Speaker, we are privileged to introduce the mayoral 10-point plan, which remains our strategic resolve to drive radical socio-economic transformation within our municipality. It gives me great pleasure and privilege and honor to give you progress and planned interventions on the implementation of our mayoral 10-point plan. Through this plan, we commit to reshape the socio-economic future of the people of eThekwini. Honorable Speaker, for the past 3 years since the introduction of the mayoral 10-point plan, we have learned 3 fundamental lessons. We must not claim it as a victories, and we must tell the truth as it is. Firstly, we have an execution deficit in the system, which is often linked to service delivery units, poor project management, poor project planning and delivery capacity, or lack thereof. Secondly, we lack project management capacity, and this is linked to poor procurement planning. Finally, budget expenditure is not linked to budget policy statements. These are the weakest areas where we need to reinforce and ensure that we improve so that we are able to deliver and build capacity of the state. To remedy these shortcomings, we must build capacity within the Office of the City Manager to better discharge the coordination and the full implementation of the Mayoral 10-point plan. This will enable us to reprioritize the following critical activities. Firstly, institutionalization of the Mayoral 10-point plan governance handbook, finalization and implementation of all the Mayoral 10-point plan workstream business plans, mobilization of external public and private sector partners, implementation of the Social Solidarity Economic Program, implementation of the eThekwini Enterprise and Supply Development Fund, coordination of the Africa Procurement Indaba 2022, implementation of infrastructure procurement reforms and procurement center of excellence, implementing the Artificial Intelligence and Social Enterprise Development Academy. Despite the shortcomings outlined above, these are the several notable achievements on this plan. On the reindustrialization of the city's economic trajectory driven by the Port City Industrial Program, an international benchmarking and search study into socio-economic benefits of industrialization through the Port City is underway. We will soon table a comprehensive Port City strategy and business plan for the adoption of the Council. 2, mayoral job creation, catalytic projects and skills revolution war room, funding through the Presidential Employment Program, the PEP, which will enable us to create over 5,500 jobs opportunities in this year, has been secured, and a plan to roll out this initiative has been finalized. A mayoral jobs and social enterprise MBAs program is planned to start immediately within 17 zones to outline our jobs and social solidarity economic program. Here we will share a clear framework on how we intend to create more jobs and skills opportunities across all municipalities, across all communities, and we'll share this with the committees, how we intend maximizing this benefit. Our message in this regard is clear: nothing for the community without the community. So we are going where people are found and highlight these programs and work with them. On infrastructure delivery, energy reforms and climate change, our infrastructure fund program has been finalized and operationalization will start in the new financial year. The energy reforms and climate change master plan is underway. A mayoral energy reforms and climate change advisory council will be activated. On social solidarity economy, the eThekwini Enterprise and Supply Development Fund was launched in October last year and will be capitalized with an initial funding of 50 million rands to drive an integrated social enterprise development program. An impact investment policy statement has been finalized for council adoption. This policy will guide the operation and functions of our enterprise supply development and infrastructure fund program. 75 wards have been identified for the establishment of ward-based social enterprises. Ward-based economic profiling will take place this financial year. A meeting with captains of industry to mobilize ESD fund contribution and private sector integration has been held. An ESD webinar is also scheduled to take place next month. The webinar will provide an opportunity to market and promote our social solidarity economic program. Plans to table a social procurement policy framework which will enable the city to utilize 30% of our procurement spend to support social solidarity economy programs are at an advanced stage. On Procurement Center of Excellence, Africa Procurement Indaba 2022 host city agreement will be finalized within this financial year. The Indaba will position the city as the leader of procurement excellence in Africa. Changes in today's global landscape mean emerging markets must consider how they shape our own future. There is a danger that a shift away from emerging markets will negatively impact the global economy's ability to grow in the future under the theme enhancing trade, integration and social economic development in Africa through efficient local procurement will bring together Africa's policymakers, innovative thinkers, industry leaders, researchers, and entrepreneurs to share ideas on how to leverage from the government and private sector spend across the continent. On Smart City, a partnership with the Development Bank of Southern Africa has been secured for the technical support for the implementation of the Smart City program. Phase 1, diagnostic and state of readiness assessment has been finalized. A business case of the establishment of the Artificial Intelligence and Social Enterprises Academy has been finalized. We'll also champion the hosting of our inaugural Coastal Smart City Summit this year. Implementation of the RASET Master Plan. Plans to finalize RASET business plan are at advanced stage. We will soon unveil a collaboration between private sector, national and provincial government. The collaboration is aimed at strengthening and growing the sector within our city. On eThekwini Enterprise Supply Development, ESD and Infrastructure Fund, Honorable Speaker, there is a good progress that we are making in this regard, and we'll be pursuing this so that we are able to respond to the plight of those who have been locked out of the mainstream economy in our city. We make a call to corporate partners and industry stakeholders to take advantage of the ESD fund platform by pledging support in order to ensure that we implement a truly integrated world-class enterprise and supply development program. The program will focus on the following 4 key areas, including an infrastructure fund, an enterprise and supply development fund, youth fund focusing on development of youth-owned enterprises, and social development fund. So with all that, we'll be able to be responsive to the plight of the youth in particular, women and disabled. Our enterprise supply development and infrastructure fund programs aims to accelerate socio-economic empowerment, intensity, and intensify transformation by making sure that we promote opportunities and participation of Black-owned enterprises and Africans in particular. It is true, eThekwini Enterprise Supply Development and Infrastructure Fund, that local entrepreneurs will be able to build businesses that can usher us into a future of inclusivity, sustainability, and a greater human dignity within the entire city. On the establishment of eThekwini Economic Council, the council is up and running, is functional, and the council has established the work streams, and the council will be able to continue to advise the council on economic matters. On radical budget re-engineering reforms, Honorable Speaker, our plan to overhaul our budgeting tools and systems are underway. To meet our service delivery targets of today and into the future requires a comprehensive review of our organizational structure, budget, and systems. Our current 26,000 to 28,000 staff complement vis-a-vis the service delivery outputs is currently unsustainable. Organizational structures, budgets, and systems for future modern local government must be designed around a vision of a project management. Strategic service delivery units such as water, electricity, roads, maintenance, and human settlements must be organized as semi-independent entities of the municipality. Basic service delivery interventions such as grass cutting, basic maintenance, waste collection can be decentralized to community-based social enterprises. It is our intent to pilot the organizational structure and the budget review within the electricity unit, and we will commission a feasibility study and due diligence business case within this financial year. Honorable Speaker, we have adopted a 5-pillar approach towards implementing of our budget re-engineering reforms. Pillar 1, undertake a comparative and diagnostic review focusing on measuring our historical budget performance. Pillar 2, quantifying the implementation of mayoral 10-point plan. Pillar 3, re-engineering, focus on regional growth and employment model for poverty reduction, a review of current budget structure as well. Pillar 4, monitoring and evaluation that must be conducted. Pillar 5, total socio-economic dashboard that needs to be drawn. On catalytic projects, Honorable Speaker, last year we reported progress on a number of catalytic projects. We are happy to report that some of these projects have been completed and others will be launched soon. In September, we opened a 780 million Midway Crossing Mall in Newlands West. This project also housed a Sizakala Center, library, and GoDep and offices which we recently launched in line with our Radical Socio-Economic Transformation Program. We were able to spend 98 million rands on the empowerment of local suppliers, resulting in the creation of 900 jobs. The empowerment opportunities created included work packages such as plastering, brickwork, steel fabrication, and many other activities. Honorable Speaker, to attract more investment in the CPD, the city committed to invest 270 million rand to improve water supply and sanitation in the Point Precinct and Anton Lambert District. This project also included upgrading of public ramp of Mahatma Gandhi Road. We are also pleased to report that this work is nearing completion. This work is not a promise which was made, but we all see it here. The city continues to build world-class facilities in line with our vision to make eThekwini a destination of choice for investment. This Friday, we will be officially launching the Radisson Blue Hotel, which is part of the Oceans Umhlanga development. And we have no doubt that this will boost tourism and economic trajectory of the city. It will also retain tourists that used to go to other cities to purchase these rare brands. This 4.2 billion development consists of retail shops that will be home to international brands found in world-class cities. On the very same Friday, we'll be having a meeting with the CEO of Gucci, who will be meeting with us because he sees this as an investment area in the world. This is welcome development, and we are confident that it will enhance the tourism experience of our visitors in Durban and create jobs. The hotel component of this project has introduced, for the first time, a broad-based public offer investment opportunities to 23,000 BEE shareholders. With this development, through this project, the city will collect 34.4 million in the rates revenue annually. We are also impressed about the work that has been done on the Rivertown Public Realm project. Here we are responding to the area between the ICC and the beachfront to establish restaurants, pubs, and art galleries. We have completed the paving of walkways in this 40 million development. In line with our Erythropolis master plan, which entails building a city in the 32,000 hectares around the King Shaka International Airport, we have commenced with the first phase of the Whetstone project. This is a light industry node with an investment value of 1.8 billion rands, which will be completed this year. Through this aviation-linked commercial development, we'll be able to enhance regional and national competitiveness through improved multimodal transport access. In the west, Nchongweni, urban development phase valued at 8 billion rands will create around 10,000 construction jobs over a period of 10 years for the city, thus enabling us, our people, to put food on the table. This mixed-use development is strategically located along the entry and will create a new economic hub in the outer west area of the city. Once completed, we envisage that an estimated 35,000 jobs opportunities will be created in that area. This development of the 153 hectares of the Keystone Logistic Park on the Henry Hammersdale interchange will ease the burden of our roads leading to the harbour. Since Durban Port is one of the busiest in Southern Hemisphere, the creation of 6.5 billion rands logistic hub will not only increase storage capacity, but will also ensure there is seamless and timely movement of goods between our city and various destinations in SADC region. The city will generate an annual revenue of 179 million from this project. Linked to this project is Keto Rich Freight and Logistic Development, which is an investment valued at 18 billion rands. This project is expected to create more than 10,000 jobs and generate an annual revenue of 300 million rands for the city. Honorable Speaker, as a responsive government that listens, we have heard the concerns raised by tenants of Virginia Airport. In this regard, the city has taken a decision to temporarily halt the process of evictions while we continue engaging our tenants as we are preparing for the major development that is going to take place in that area. Another exciting development is the Avoca Nodal development It is made up of 3 precincts ideally located along N2 corridor. The precincts consist of the Brickworks development, the Northfields industrial development, and the Cambridge residential development. The investment value of this development is estimated to be 10 billion rands. Following the court decision which ruled in favor of the developer for the film city at the old Natal Command site, le laphaya ngase-hotel, casino laphaya, eThekwini municipality is ready to conclude the land transfer processes. The Durban Film City is touted as a landmark project for the city. It has projected capital cost of more than 7.5 billion rands, and it boasts world-class film studios and related film industry elements with tourism, lifestyle, and entertainment components. Ebumnandeni ilastholakala khona. Over 17,000 jobs will be created during the construction phase, and close to 8,000 people will gain employment once this project is operational. The site rezoning has been completed and we are ready. The developer is ready to kickstart this development. Another example of a positive public-private partnership between the city and Toyota is the construction of 6.5 billion rand auto supply park, which is aimed at centralizing production, assembly, sequencing, and warehousing facilities in close proximity to the manufacturing plant. That will be happening in the old airports on the southern part of our city, because investment should not be concentrated this side, they should also go this side. Through this initiative, companies will benefit from economies of scale in areas like land development, construction, shared services, logistics hub, and infrastructure. The project will create around 6,000 jobs during the construction and 600 permanent jobs after the construction. Honorable Speaker, you may remember that at a presidential investment summit in 2019, Toyota pledged to invest more than 2.5 billion rands in the production of a new passenger car. Then last year, Toyota announced an investment of this investment for the manufacturing of the new Corolla Cross Sport Utility Vehicle, the SUV, a very beautiful one, at its engineering plant in Prospecting. Toyota started production of this compact SUV in October last year, with the investment generation about 2.8 billion rands in additional component purchases in South African economy. Investment at this scale is significant and will promote local value addition, technology transfer, and job creation. As a result of this investment, 575 new jobs were created in the plant and further 1,200 at the component manufacturers. The launch of the Corolla Cross Hybrid is also noted for helping to transform the automotive industry into a green industry success story in line with the COP26 climate change conference obligations. This hybrid Corolla Cross is exported to 40 countries across Africa. Honorable Speaker, we are happy to report the Waterfront development project remains on course. However, due to current market conditions, the investors have decided to repackage the project. Instead of going full swing with the original concept of the project, they have decided to start with the retail component of the project. What is exciting about this project is that after completion, it is going to breathe life into Ushaga Marine world. Honorable Speaker, it would be remiss of me not to mention that the passenger cruise terminal is operational. Every week there is cruise ship docking at this terminal, ferrying passengers to various destinations. This operation started, it has created business opportunities for taxi operators, restaurants, and other tourist attractions. At 200 million rands, this investment puts Durban on the world map in the lucrative industry. Honorable Speaker, we would like to inform the public that the multi-billion rand Go Durban project is proceeding, and we are busy deliberating on a variety of issues with all stakeholders, especially the bus and the taxi industry. We are optimistic that in the next few months, at the latest, we'll be going live with this much-needed planned public transport system. We are also forging ahead with the establishment of eThekwini Public Transport Entity. However, we need to acknowledge that there is still a litigation bottleneck in this regard. Be that as it may, we want to state that we remain resolute in our intention to establish this entity, public entity. We are convinced that this initiative will improve our public transport system. In the next 5 years, eThekwini will attract more than 200 billion rands investment that is likely to yield closely to 200 jobs. This is a clear indication, Honorable Speaker, that during our term of office, our city stands a chance to be a busy construction site. We are very conscious that globally most economies are hamstrung, but we remain determined to knock on all doors for foreign direct investment and also retaining our domestic investments. Equally, our city will put out all the stops to ensure that conducive climate for investment is created. Honorable Speaker, we are dealing with the government mall, the project which seeks to integrate government services, including home affairs and other departments, and also mixed-use development, which will be at a cost of 6 billion rand, is also underway. Positioning the city as a destination of choice for local and international tourists. Honorable Speaker continues, we continue to be, tourism continue to be our gold, and as a result, we'll endeavor to develop attractive tourism packages to ensure that we remain a preferred tourism destination. COVID-19 reversed some significant gains, but we soldier on to ensure that we continue with our work and the July unrest. We recently hosted a successful Africa Travel Indaba, which brought over 4,000 delegates to our city with an estimated spend of 29 million rands and a contribution of 72 million rands to our GDP. In collaboration with the provincial government, the city hosted the Intra-Africa Trade Fair, where more than 12,000 delegates also visited our city, including heads of states across the continent. 2 weeks ago, the city hosted the 5th Global Conference on the Elimination of Child Labor, which saw over 3,000 delegates descending on our city, even during this difficult time. We are humbled by multilateral organizations of the world for continuing to have confidence in us successfully staging gatherings of this magnitude. This is a clear message from the world and to the world that we are open for business as eThekwini. Whether we can be attacked by these floods and the unrest, but we really ensure that we rise to the occasion to restore our lives. And we are ready to welcome visitors to our city. Honorable Speaker, the recent international events that were hosted have once again confirmed that this iconic conference venue remains one of the best in the world. We wish to commend the board and the management of the ICC. On the other hand, our efforts to keep Ushaga Marine fully operational, they are ongoing, and we are currently conducting a feasibility study on how the entity can continue to be financially viable. In partnership with the provincial counterparts from tourism and the other provincial entities like Dubai Trade Port, in the air access route development, we are excited to announce that we have welcomed Airlink, which has a direct international flight into Durban from Zimbabwe. We are also excited about the return of South African Airways. By the end of July, we'll be welcoming Eswatini Air and Turkish Airlines to our municipality airport. Honorable Councillors, our beaches remain closed following the levels of E. coli. Our teams are hard at work to fix this. We believe it is important that we communicate the message because it was as a result of circumstances beyond our control. However, the closure of beaches does not mean that visitors must stay away from the city because we have a variety of tourism products which we are offering. In our quest to cement our place as a unique tourism mecca, we are elated to announce that the construction of 400 million Durban Eye, which will be located on the promenade, is commencing in July. We commend this public-private partnership, which is set to change the skyline of the city, offering a spectacular 360-degree panoramic view of the city. So masigibele esondweni silibone lonke idolobha sifane namanye amazwe omhlaba nathi liyangena leli sondo liyaqala nje manje umehluko uzobonakala emnothweni wethu. On the 15th of June, the city will be hosting the Durban Tourism Awards to recognize excellence and resilience in the tourism sector during these difficult times. We hope this will also encourage business in the sector to continue investing in our city. Honorable Speaker, last year we committed to continue to support Durban sport teams to promote sport tourism. Currently, the city is supporting Amazulu FC, Golden Arrows, Sharks, Royal AM. Plans are afoot to support the Durban Ladies Football Club. Plans are afoot to support the Durban Ladies Football Club and other Durban soccer teams in the Glad Africa. The ladies team is representing Durban in the Elite Women's Football League in the country. They are the best in the country. On good governance, Honorable Speaker, fraud and corruption permanently remains our enemy number one. We believe that each and every cent of taxpayers must go towards service delivery to improve the well-being of our residents. All of us here have a responsibility to ensure that this scourge is eliminated for our city to live to its constitutional mandate of providing basic services to all our citizens. We are also making strides in ensuring that we hold our officials accountable by improving our consequence management processes. From 2019, we have reduced our disciplinary case backlog from 334 to 57, and this 57 is also being processed, while ensuring that those accused of wrongdoing face the music. We also want to acknowledge employees who go an extra mile in executing their duties. If you are not going to be arrested, let's give them a big round of applause, those who are working well. Akufuneki masikhuluma nge-corruption bese ngathi wonke umuntu corrupt, bambalwa laba corrupt abenza i-corruption bengasebenzi. Iningi liyawenza umsebenzi, ngakho asilisupporte ukwenza ukuthi umasipala wethu uqonde ukwazi ukudlulisa idinga ebantwini ngendlela. In this regard, we'll continue to host our Customer Care Awards in recognition of employees who provide quality services to the public. We just had one. Plans are also afoot to host the Mayoral Excellence Awards to celebrate and honor excellence performance among our employees. Honorable Councillors, as part of dealing with these kinds of corruption, we made a commitment to recoup from culprits funds gained through malfeasance. Our efforts to run a clean administration continue to be recognized by independent institutions, including the Auditor General. Last year, we committed ourselves to address the concerns that had been raised by the Auditor General, particularly the issue of irregular expenditure. We are pleased that through the integrated clean administration strategy, we have been able to reduce irregular expenditure to below 50%. This augurs well for us to achieve a clean audit. It is also encouraging that even the global credit rating agencies' report showed faith in the financial affairs of our municipality. In August last year, it gave our city AA+ status, meaning that the municipality is a very, very high credit quality and of our financial controls remain strong. Fighting crime, Honorable Speaker, we have not been able to shake of the evil tag of being the crime capital of the country. The latest crime statistics indicated that eThekwini municipality contributes 50% of crime in the province. We recorded an increase in business robberies in the CBD, Umlazi, in Kwamashu and Inanda, continue to lead in murder and sexual offenses. We are also concerned about the ongoing killings of public representatives, including councillors, traditional leaders. Recently, we have witnessed a growing trend of mass killings, particularly in Umlazi and Mpumalanga, Hammarsdale. As part of addressing the scourge of crime in our communities, we have taken a decision to convene Izimbizo together with the Minister of Police, General Begicele. This is going to be held in Umlazi and Inanda. These areas have proven to be the hotbeds for violent crimes. Both these Izimbizo will culminate into a crime summit of eThekwini involving community crime fighting structures, law enforcement agencies, academia, and civil society. In this summit, we must be able to develop a comprehensive program of action to tackle crime head on. Honorable Councillors, it's also worrying that we continue to have incidents where our employees lose their lives on duty. Apart from intervention we are implementing with the Minister of Police, plans are afoot to meet with our employees, more especially eThekwini Water and Sanitation, trade unions, and senior management to map a way forward about strengthening security in all our buildings. We are confident that we are going to win this battle. Since the beginning of the year, we have been holding regular meetings with Minister of Police to assess the progress in the implementation of our crime prevention strategies. Interventions that the Minister and the Deputy Minister of Intelligence committed in the city are the following: deployment of multidisciplinary teams to deal with the killing of councillors and officials, which is already in motion; make Amawoti a fully fledged police station within 12 months; the installation of CCTV cameras to go beyond the CBD; dedicated teams to deal with bad buildings, drugs, and illegal liquor outlets. To increase police visibility in the municipality, we are currently finalizing the recruitment of more than 200 Metropolis officers to increase our crime prevention capacity. This is an ongoing recruitment program which will ensure that the city ultimately reaches its target of 5,000 law enforcement officers. On the inner city, Honorable Speaker, last year we reported that the city will intensify its program of eradicating problem building in the CBD. Having conducted consultations with property owners, the Department of Public Works, and Transnet, we are pleased to report the progress we have seen with over 80% of the 33 identified buildings being renovated. Saqala njengambalo njengamanje sisayimasifier, so hamba sishaya udoor to door umnyango nomnyango. Aliki ibhilidi elibolile lizovunyelwa liqhubeke libe khona eThekwini. Mayihluleka iowner siyangenelela, siyenkantolo siyolidla, siyalungisa. Mawusulifuna emumva, usufuna ukulithatha ibhilidi lakho, sikhokhela yonke imali yethu esilungise ngayo. Furthermore, the negotiations with the Department of Public Works and Transnet to attend to their 7 buildings are yielding positive results. For instance, 3 buildings owned by the Public Works Department are in the process of being transferred to new owners for repurposing and or redevelopment. Transnet has demolished one of their problem buildings in the Mahatma Gandhi precinct. We want to caution property owners who continue to ignore our building bylaws that will not hesitate to institute legal proceedings against them. The city has also concluded the process of recruiting more than 300 street ambassadors under the public employment program who will support our inner city regeneration teams to enforce trading bylaws by safety and bad buildings and waste management bylaws. These street ambassadors will be placed in secondary CBD, in our CBD and secondary towns, Isipingo, inner city, Pantown, uThongati luzongena makhanseleni ngaze nisabe ase-North lukhona ey'nhlelweni. In partnership with Durban University of Technology, Urban Future Center, NGO Market, and informal traders, we have initiated a zero waste management program at the Warwick Market Precinct. This program will have a positive impact in saving our landfill space and contribute to our climate adaptation agenda because it reduces the cost of removing organic waste. Building an HIV and AIDS-free generation. Honorable Councillors, in our quest to create an HIV/AIDS-free generation, the work of establishing ward and zonal AIDS councils continues, and we are confident that this approach will have positive results because we are able to reach more people when there is community involvement. These community-based structures will be tasked with, among other things, helping implement the National HIV and AIDS Sexually Transmitted Infections Strategic Plan, through various educational campaigns targeting the most vulnerable groups in our society. We will be intensifying the Welcome Back campaign, which seeks to get back into care and treatment those patients who have defaulted due to various reasons. Furthermore, the introduction of rollout of PrEP gives us hope that we'll eventually win the war against this virus when taken after exposure to the virus. PrEP is able to help people to reduce the risk of contracting this virus. Through the MENA for Men Health Forum, campaign. We are working hard to reach more men using various educational tools to encourage them not only to know their HIV status, but also to lead healthy lifestyle once they have tested positive. While we continue to target new patients, there is an effort to get those who may have opted out of the program to come back. Honorable Speaker, on the youth, women and people with disability, youth is the cornerstone of every society. As a result, their needs are always elevated high on the development agenda. Reason being that ignoring their plight will be a recipe for a disaster. Equally, women and people with disability remain the most vulnerable groups in society, and their emancipation remains sacrosanct. For this reason, the municipality has developed bold initiatives to address their plight. There are many programs that are interventions to ensure that we enroll the youth in our economy. So I'll continue with the rest of the statement. We are proud that our work readiness program has resulted in the city absorb 900 graduates every year with a total budget of 43 million for a period of 2 years. Some of them have landed themselves permanent jobs opportunities within this municipality, while others through this program are furnished with skills that are relevant to jobs. Honorable Speaker, we are pleased to announce that in the next financial year, we will allocate 58 million rands to assist deserving graduates to further their studies in various institutions of higher learning. We are also proud of the giant leap forward in ensuring that we respond to the demand of the fourth industrial revolution. To date, we have opened 21 human capital centers of excellence in all regions of the city. In the next financial year, we have planned to open additional 7 centers which are equipped with computers, internet, and Wi-Fi, walking long distances by our young people to access these services has become a thing of the past. We also continue to affirm women in strategic management positions in the municipality. Honourable Speaker, we regret that women and children continue to bear the brunt of the scourge of gender-based violence and femicide. These recent statistics indicate that some of our police stations are leading nationally in terms of reported sexual offences. We must indicate that fighting gender-based violence is a collective responsibility. Therefore, we urge committee members, all stakeholders to join hands to fight against this scourge. eThekwini Municipality, we have a huge responsibility resting on our shoulders to ensure that all our residents, irrespective of their race, gender, and creed, are able to coexist. We are coming from a horrible past that polarized our society to advance an evil agenda of the apartheid regime. It is a fact that the killings we have seen in Phoenix, the attacks that were directed to African nationals were antithetical to the provisions of the Freedom Charter. Preparations are at an advanced stage to host Social Cohesion Summit in July this year. This will enable us to deliberate on the root causes and solutions to racism, Afrophobia, and xenophobia. Climate change, we are fully aware that our planet is warming up at an alarming speed. Global warming is now a reality and changing weather patterns at scale that has never been imagined before. The state of affairs is sending a clear message to us, the inhabitants of this planet, that there has to be a serious paradigm shift in the manner we do things. In eThekwini, we are rising to the occasion in that all our plans, climate change, and interventions thereof feature prominently. The floods we have experienced recently are nothing but the manifestation of changing weather patterns. We are now starting a conversation of how we are going to build better by ensuring that our infrastructure is resilient, climate change and disasters. In August, we have planned to host this conference. This gathering will bring together experts, academia, civil society research institutions, business, and community. Over this budget, Honorable Speaker, the total budget for 2022-2023 is 55.4 billion rands, with an operating budget of 49.8 billion rands and a capital budget of 5.6 billion rands. The budget is fully funded, balanced, realistic, credible, and strategically aligned, and is based on the principles of affordability and sustainability. Our operating budget, which funds the continued provision of services provided by municipality, increased from 47 billion rands in 2021-2022 to 49.8 billion rands in 2022 to 2024 or 2023. 52.7 billion rand in 2023-2024 and 55.9 billion rands in 2024-2025. The growth of the operating budget is mainly due to the repairs and maintenance on infrastructure, cost of addressing service delivery backlogs, baningi abantu bakithi abangakayitholi izindlu nemigwaqo enetiyela namanzi nogesi kumele sigijimise lezo indlela. Cost of bulk purchases njengoba sithenga amanzi kumngeni water kanjalo naku Eskom. Employee related cost uqashwa kwabasebenzi ngaphakathi kemasipala. The main items contributing to the operating budget of 49.8 billion rands. 60.6 billion rands for electricity, 6.9 billion rands for water and sanitation, 6.6 billion rands for community and emergency services, 1.5 billion rands for cleansing and solid waste, 2.3 billion rands for roads and engineering, and 1.5 billion rands for ETA. On capital projects, the capital budget for the city projects, a spending plan of approximately 15.6 billion over the next 3 years. The capital budget for 2022-2023 financial year amounts to approximately 5.6 billion rands and thereafter and at 4.9 billion rands in 2023-2024. A provision of 5.1 billion rands has been made for the 2024-2025 financial year. The capital budget continues to reflect consistent efforts to address backlogs in basic services and the renewal of the infrastructure of existing network services, in particular water and sanitation. Sizoba sikwenzile konke masingafaka imali eningi ekubhekeleleni indaba yamanzi nendaba kagesi nendaba yemigwaqo nekwakhiwa kwezindlu okuyikona okuhlupha abantu abayiningi kuleli dolobha bangakayitholi idingo zabo. The major capital projects over the MTREF include 2.2 billion rands on electricity infrastructure, 2.1 billion rands on eThekwini Transport Authority, 1.9 billion rands on low-cost housing and infrastructure, 1.9 billion rands on sanitation infrastructure, 1.5 billion rands on water infrastructure, 1.3 billion rands on roads rehabilitation and reconstruction and new access roads. 804 million rands on addressing community services backlog, 605 million rands on catalytic projects in Chongwene Bricks Works and Oceans, Umhlanga and many others, 520 million for waste management including landfill sites. Coming to the last one on tariffs, the proposed tariffs and rates increased are the lowest for years, as we sincerely appreciate the plight of our residents. The proposed increases are as follows. I appreciate that even political parties today, earlier on in the ESCO, they acknowledge that this budget really has responded to the plight of our people. There is no proposed increase for residential property rates. Instead, the city is happy to announce that the rate randage on residential has been decreased by 10% due to the implementation of the new valuation rule. The water tariffs increase for residential will be 5.9% and 9% for businesses. This is to secure the water supply of the city and ensure that the infrastructure is maintained to reduce water losses. The electricity tariffs increase is 7.47%. This is against an ESCOM increase of 9.61%. The sewage tariff increase for residential is 5.9% and 9% for businesses. The refuse tariff increase is 4.5% for residential customers and 7.9% for businesses. As a caring and responsive city, we want to assure the residents of our city that we have worked very hard to keep the tariffs and rates increases as low as possible. Municipalities are currently facing a difficult fiscal environment. These tariffs increases represent an appropriate balance between the interest of poor households and other customers while ensuring the financial sustainability of our municipality. We have extended the deadline for the objections to the new property valuations and applications for rates rebates. We have also implemented several initiatives to help residents and businesses survive and recover through the COVID-19 pandemic, civil unrest, and the floods. Within these packages that we have developed, honorable councillors, there is something existing there. If imitha yakhe ishayisa umuntu ngemoto kwavuza amanzi, uyakwazi na ukusondela kwamasipala uzovela ucha kune-damage engiyiriphotile la kodwa kwanga-attend ukuvuzwa kwamanzi, then ukwazi ukuthi i-credit yakho ibe ngconywana isikweletu ozobe unaso. So namanje leyo mnyango ivulekile, ngisho nalabo abalinyalelwe amamitha abo ngalesikhathi se-flood bazokwazi ukuza kwa-revenue wethu bezosikhalela ukuthi cha engathi kudamage imitha lamanzi avuza isikhathi esingaka, so kuzokwenziwa ama-assessment. Uma kutholakala lokho kuyiqiniso abantu bekwazi ukubhekeleleka. Honorable Speaker, I want to reiterate that this is a recovery and people-centered budget. The adversity that has befallen our city in the past 3 years will not deter us from achieving the universal goal of a better life for all. We call upon all our stakeholders to work with us as we have started the process of restoration and rebuilding our city against all odds. We want to thank all political parties, particularly the African National Congress, all our partners and all political parties and our coalition partners for continuing to work with us to make eThekwini the most livable and caring city. But we understand the challenges that we are still faced with. We want to convey our appreciation to the ESCO and all councillors for the guidance and oversight role they continue to play in the running of our municipality. Equally, we thank the administration led by the acting city manager, Mr. Musampele, for steering the administrative ship in the right direction. Before I thank my family, I also want to thank people of eThekwini for their patience, for the services that they are not receiving, but we have the reduced public protest. People are understanding how to channel their challenges, and we are responding to those challenges that they are faced with. We wish to thank them for that behavior. Most importantly, I want to thank my family for their continued support and their sacrifice, and my organization, the African National Congress, for having afforded me with this opportunity to lead this city. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, His Worship the Mayor. Thank you very much. Councillors, as I've indicated earlier, that we are waiting for the report to be presented to Council. Then we were supposed to receive the report before the Mayor addressed Council. Then we allow the budget debate where political parties will say something on the budget, but for us to be procedural, because now we have received the copies of the item or the ESCO report as I've indicated. I would suggest that City Manager, we present the report in terms of the procedure. Then once the report has been tabled, presented, then we'll move to the debate so that we are procedural. I'm sure you'll understand because we are waiting for the report. Apologies, councillors, for that. Let me hand over to you, City Manager, so that we are procedural.
Bengicela ukuthi uMayor atheblishe that EXCO report
Yes, I will then request His Worship the Mayor to present the third ESCO report. Then City Manager will table the items, then we'll take it to Council. His Worship.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I wish to table the third report of the Executive Committee to the Council.
Thank you very much, City Manager.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. In terms of the first item, it is budget for the 2022-2023 to 2024-2025 medium-term revenue and expenditure framework. Committee recommends.
Councillors, is the Commission agreed? Thank you, Councillor Cran. Councillor Ngosi with the next. Councillor Cran.
Thank you, Chair. Can I proceed?
Yes, you can speak.
Thank you. I would like to greet the Mayor, the Speaker, and all colleagues that are present, as well as our officials and residents who are watching us from home. I don't know how many people have stayed the course of the afternoon, and for those who are watching us, I'd like to greet everybody. I agree fully with the Mayor on one account today, that this is the time for us to claim no easy victories and tell the truth. And the changing nature of politics and the difficult political position that the voters in the city put us in at the end of last year mean that the days of easy victories in this council are over. The days that this council was railroaded for the sake of politics and not consulted on key decisions are long gone. And I think that is representative of the communities that we serve. This is now a robust democracy that will serve the will of the people of eThekwini. It is now also time to tell the truth about the state that our city is in, how we got here and how we got out of it. The past couple of years have been incredibly tough for eThekwini. We have been affected by the triple threat of the COVID lockdown, the civil unrest and the devastating flood that we saw more recently. But what has also happened, however, is intrinsically linked to the action or inaction of the state at all levels. The budget that we see before us today is understandably quite different from the draft that was tabled in March. The city has been hammered by two devastating weather events in April and May, undoubtedly made worse by problems with stormwater infrastructure, failures to acknowledge serious environmental warnings, and to plan and enforce properly. And it's created a full-blown humanitarian crisis across all communities in our city, but particularly our poorer communities. It would be remiss of me not to mention some of the worst impacts of this crisis that are not necessarily getting the kind of response that they should be. The city sanitation infrastructure was already in a precarious state prior to the floods, but is now in complete tatters. Some 5 weeks after the floods, and we're now further on, no major construction work had started on any of our critical sanitation sites, resulting in millions of litres of raw sewage pouring into rivers, groundwater and the sea. Beaches remain closed, a key tourism, environmental and economic issue, while we debate which section of the law to use to eventually get a contractor on site, as well as exposing poor people who have to walk the roads every day to human waste and tanking our tourism economy. Thousands of people shelter in halls, churches and other buildings across the city. The conditions are incredibly horrendous, with limited dignity and food security. Some disasters are obviously unavoidable, but others are created through a lack of action, and the failure to implement proper disaster management systems to respond when the situations demand it have led us to where we are. We must acknowledge the incredible work of many NGOs who have looked after many of these folks when government has failed to respond. Lastly, and I am only mentioning 3 issues of the disaster to be able to move on to dealing with the floods. I don't have the Mayor's time liberties today, unfortunately. The people of Tongaat are on day 52 of no water. Not even leadership are able to really get answers as people continue to suffer from failed promises and inhuman conditions. People are now resorting more than ever, and I'm confused why the Mayor is saying that we've seen a decrease in protests, to burning things, blocking roads, because they are so desperate to get some kind of response from the city.
We acknowledge that various changes have been made after the public participation process to the budget, including lower tariff increases as compared to previous years. I'm not necessarily sure that this is a victory in and of itself, because this has become a very expensive city to live in relative to the amount of money that people earn. We have, however, seen an increase for the rates lifeline amount and an increase for the pensioner rates rebate amount from 2 million to 2.5 million, which I believe was necessary and will be welcomed. The rates randage has been decreased by 10%, but an increase wasn't really necessary after the overall evaluation was increased by around 20% for the total value of rates. The DA reiterates that growing the rates base through attracting investment and developing and creating an attractive place to work and live, as opposed to hiking people's property values, is the only way to build a sustainable platform to work from in the city. I wrote to Mayor Xolisi Kawunda on Sunday to express our key concerns around this budget as the Democratic Alliance. Together with the CFO and the acting municipal manager, the Democratic Alliance raised a number of key concerns in a meeting held on Monday. The essence of our concerns are fivefold. The first is the increase in borrowing from 1 billion to 1.5 billion, predominantly due to the complete failure of national government to commit any funds to us after the floods, as well as the failure overall to cut spending on nice-to-haves in the face of huge infrastructural and social challenges. Here are with some more details of these concerns. Despite the declaration of a national state of disaster, it's become clear that no additional funding is really being made available from National Treasury. There have been a number of conflicting reports, but we still seem to be waiting, we still seem to be waiting for any real input. This needs to be addressed directly with the President on behalf of the people of eThekwini. There have been 3.9 billion rand worth of damages, which excludes housing and is from April alone, excluding the May floods. And that is seemingly necessitating us to increase borrowing from 1 billion to 1.5 billion. This is a huge concern that could be mitigated if national government held up their end of the bargain. eThekwini cannot borrow its way out of this disaster, and ratepayers can no longer frankly afford to bear the brunt of these situations. The next concern is that there's no real commitment to curb costs for staff and politicians. The security management and Metro Police budget, especially as it relates to politicians, is still unacceptably high. We must be honest about the situation that we find ourselves in. We cannot spend hundreds of millions of rands to keep ourselves safe when ordinary people are in greater danger than they ever have been. The Metro Police budget was 1.5 billion in the upcoming year, and there's 180 million rand worth of overtime that was just approved in the current financial year. This is just to pay for 1,500 uniformed officers, and the number hasn't gone up despite the promises made in 2000. For these amounts, eThekwini should be a lot safer than it is. We have many good, hard-working staff who try their best in tough conditions. The system is just no longer sustainable and fair. We have to cut our operating costs. There's a mention of only allowing increases for staff if budget becomes available every year, but every year we find budget regardless of what's happening. The financial stability of the city requires some tough decisions to be made and far fewer perks for politicians and staff. Overtime has become expected, with almost half of the city's staff claiming overtime on a monthly basis, and bonuses and increases happen regardless of whether people see services delivered. There is simply no link between what happens in our offices and what happens in communities. There's 319 million that is unfunded in the water, sanitation and electricity budgets. The primary focus of the mayoral lekgotla, which was held in February and which we will adopt the report of today, was to emphasize the critical need to upgrade and maintain major assets and ensure the stability of our water and electricity network. This needs to be the primary focus of our budget, to the exclusion of all else. We can find the money if we get rid of the bells and whistles. There are still numerous parties and events being hosted in the Parks, Recreation and Culture and Durban tourism budget. As we discussed on Thursday last week in Exco, we do believe, obviously, that our tourism industry requires support and attention. We will support reasonable events that have demonstrable benefits for eThekwini's economy, but city departments do not seem to recognize any reasonable limits. Endless parties that must be funded by ratepayers and that benefit the same small group of politically connected organisers do not benefit the majority in the city, and we will not stop saying that. Economies do not work when funded solely by government. We do not believe in the fundless and endless extravaganzas, whilst the city is in the worst state it has ever been. eThekwini is owed close to 20 billion in debt. Resolving the majority of this requires some political will and stern action. Governments across the country have shown that it can be done, but eThekwini drags its feet. We had a burst of action at the beginning of the year, but that seems to have slowed down. Why should ordinary people pay more when we have billions owed to us by government departments, parastatals, and those who are flush with cash? The absolute crisis that public transport is in the city cannot go unmentioned. Year in and year out, eThekwini received hundreds of millions of rand in national grant funding. I have lost count of the number of times Go Durban has missed its own launch dates, with expensive infrastructure across the city growing old without ever have been used. The mayor said that Go Durban will operate that soon, and I'll believe it when I see it, because it's definitely not the first time we've heard it. Their primary focus at the moment seems to be using grant funding to teach children to ride bicycles, which is a far cry from the spatially transformative public transport system that it was meant to be. The common thread of all of this is that we need a budget that is people first and politicians second, and truly gets to the crux of the infrastructure crisis that the city is facing. We acknowledge that a lot of work has gone into this budget by a lot of hard-working and committed people, and creating a budget of this size and scale is a complex balancing act. We also appreciate the decision that was taken by this council to include more communities in the budget process consultation. However, we don't believe that the current budget is the kind of back to basics, priority-driven budget that we would like to see. eThekwini residents are deeply frustrated at the level of service that they receive from our municipality and want a concrete plan that explains how their costs will not continue to rise when they get terrible services that they pay handsomely for. At the crux of this is leadership. Leadership drives everything that we see in the city, and if we continue to face the crisis in leadership that we have, we will not find a way out of it. In its current format, the DA will not support this budget. There are too many worries, and our concerns have only been discussed but not addressed. We have opened the door to have these concerns addressed, and that is what we're looking for. We're looking for solutions and concessions that communities that we represent and communities across the city desperately want. We ask that urgent engagements be held over the coming days in order to find consensus, and in order to build a budget that addresses the resolutions of the majority of people in the city. We will consider our options.
Thank you very much, Councillor Graham. Councillor Nkosi.
Thank you. I'm audible, Mr. Speaker.
Awuzame baba Nkosi, yezwakala. Yeah, angizwakali impela kimi. Awuzamele finally. Awuzamele.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is exactly what Councillor Gwala have said at the beginning. And you thought that Councillor Gwala is attacking you, but it is a reality. Greetings to Honorable Mayor after your long speech with your executive committee, acting city manager and official colleagues, members of the media, Kulege Makwesina Sendlunkulu Nina Besilo, and also two members of the public. Well, it's well and good that the mayor presented a long speech, but people of eThekwini are tired of clamorous and glorious speech. They want service delivered. All these things that we are saying we are going to do, they want to see the implementation. In 2020, we were talking about Go Durban going live. Still now, we are still saying we are going to go live. That is a waste of money. And the same Go Durban is now being vandalized in some of the stations. And we are putting security that is being paid by the taxpayers. Because if
Mr. Speaker, when you look at our budget, we talk of 4.9 billion. That is capital budget. And then the huge amount of money is operational. That is fine. But during the public consultation, people were complaining about services, water, electricity, etc. When are we going to ensure that they get those services? If we still have a lesser budget than compared to previous years. And they have registered their concerns about houses. We have not built proper houses in eThekwini, but the government of ANC till now, we are looking for spaces of land so then you go for a shorter route to put these temporary houses for those people who have been affected by flood. We are saying as IFP, there are a lot of buildings in the city that are owned by the municipality. Go and renovate those buildings. Some of them have been hijacked by your MK veterans, and some of them been hijacked by foreign nationals. Go and ensure that you identify those buildings, so then people will get proper houses. Now we cannot agree to put our people back into a situation whereby they're getting temporary houses. You came up with Transiscam 10 years ago. People are still there. Where is the service delivered? People want a proper service delivered. I think the issue of borrowing another 500 million, it's uncalled for. The province is owing us a lot of money. Let's go to court and demand the money from the province. Right now we have a problem of frauds. Where are they? Are they assisting us? No. The national government is assisting us? No. Now let us go and demand our money that is sitting with the province. Mr. Speaker, I think we'll be not doing justice if we say this is a good budget, because there are so many issues that are encompassed into this budget. For example, there are a lot of overtime that I've seen on electricity, millions of rand, water, sanitation, which is not fair that we are going to pass the budget with all those issues. I think it will be prudent for us to say we table the budget and come back within 7 days as this council, and then having corrected those minor mistakes or those concerns that we have, and then we pass the budget. As IFP wanted to register that we shouldn't be suffering so much for accommodation for people who have been affected by floods. If we had some reserves in our banks, because we are the city that at the end of the day, we are now, we haven't assisted people so much. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Councillor Nkosi. Councillor Patrick Pillay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to firstly thank the TA for giving me the 1 minute. So the DLC now have 2 minutes. Mr. Speaker, the DLC congratulates the officials and all stakeholders in putting together this multi-billion rand budget. It is clear that a lot more have to be done to streamline effective service delivery. Mr. Speaker, this budget is very historical because it is the first time in history there are no rates increases. However, Mr. Speaker, the DLC is concerned that not much is done to repair the holes in the pockets of our citizens in respect of tariff increases for water and electricity. Whilst this year we have the lowest tariff increases, it will never relieve our citizens of their financial crisis. The pending fuel price increases that is scheduled to be implemented from midnight is a worrying factor, Mr. Speaker. Lives and livelihoods are affected when tariff increases. It has become financially inevitable for citizens to recover from the country's severe socio-economic conditions. Whilst the petrol have increased, oil prices have skyrocketed, we must now watch out for soap increases. This is a reality that we cannot escape, Mr. Speaker. The DLC calls on the mayor to investigate the delays for Tongaat and other suburbs not receiving water. Mr. Speaker, the price of corruption is a major breakdown in service delivery, and as a city we need to deal with it very effectively. We must act now to stop corruption and ensure that overtime is not abused by the respective officials in various departments. The flood disaster have created major setbacks for our citizens of eThekwini. Securing infrastructure, water and sewer is primary and urgent, and national government should come to the party. The city has been declared a national disaster, and as such, there should be funding provided by the national government, and this will effectively relieve our citizens of tariff increases that hurts the pocket the most. Thank you.
Your time is up. Thank you. Councillor Madlala.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Let me take this opportunity to greet and thank the Mayor for presenting this budget. Thank you for allowing me an opportunity to have a say in this meeting. I want to start by thanking the colleagues in this room who have spoken before me. We want to assure them that as the ANC, we've been listening. And I'm sure by the end of this debate, we will prove to everyone that indeed we're not just listening, but we were listening to take action. Honorable Speaker, let me deal with some of the issues that have been raised before I get into what I was mandated to come and do here. One, Honorable Speaker, is that there is a war room, a water war room that sits ever since the floods. That a war room is chaired by the Deputy Minister of Water Affairs, Honorable Mahlobo. Our Deputy Mayor is the chair of the portfolio committee, sits there, and the officials from that cluster. That war room's main purpose is to solve the water issues, especially in the areas that are hardest hit, like Tongaat, a greater area where the waterworks was washed away. Now, there's no other seriousness that you can show that you are taking the people of Tongaat other than the fact that the Deputy Minister practically resides in eThekwini to try and solve those issues. But Honorable Speaker, when we are dealing with such issues, we must not lose sight of the fact that the people of Emakabeni, the people of Efolweni and Mzinyat, long before this flood, were suffering the water shortages. The people of Pakimba were living on water tankers. Now, the agency that we want to treat these matters with must be similar throughout the eThekwini, so that we don't create an impression that when you complain in English, your complaints are heard better by the city than those who are complaining in the Sisu. Secondly, I think we agree with the opposition that ever since the floods, there hasn't been any funding that has came from the national and the provincial government. I'm happy that we are agreeing with the opposition because some of their national offices have gone around telling people that we are misusing the flood budget. So I'm happy that we, as Debenites, we are agreeing that there's nothing to abuse because they have not given us anything anyway. Back to the issue of Go Durban, Honorable Speaker, is a painful one because we are a democratic city and we want to democratize this issue of service delivery. As a city, we've invested our citizens' money in ensuring that we promote public transport, we ensure that there's reliable, safe, and efficient public transport in the form of Go Durban. Now, what we have not been able to do is to complete the negotiations that we have with the industry because there was a skewed approach that was entrenched by the apartheid government, wherein the bus operators were sponsored by government, but the taxi operators were not. Now we know that that is historical, and we know that that was on the basis of race. Now when we are negotiating, one of the constraints is that we are negotiating with people who are coming from different point of view. The bus operators are coming from a privileged point of view of having been subsidized and enjoying subsidies, and the taxi industry is negotiating from a position of having been operating as pirate operators.
Order, councillors.
So those are the constraints that we cannot, those are some of the hurdles that we need to clear before we can be operational, because we don't want a situation where we start the bus service today and tomorrow we find that some of our buses are banned by some group or that group that has been ignored in this development.
Kunento ka-sweet la that is disrupting council meeting. I don't want to dismiss councillors from the meeting for eating sweets, but I do have powers to do that. Those who are eating sweets, you must do that quietly. Thank you, Baba Madlala.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Speaker, I think we must all agree that this budget is presented under the difficult context of a city in crisis. We note, as the other parties have noted, the changes in the final budget when you compare to the draft budget that was presented previously. Now, when we presented the draft budget, one of the issues that we said was that we are presenting this budget under difficult conditions. We are a city that is trying to recover from your COVID-19, from the July unrest, and from the fact that even long before COVID, the country was experiencing the economic downturn. Now, little did we know that by this time, when we're coming around with the final budget, we would have had the devastating floods that would have devastated our economy severely, devastated the family and the home life and the infrastructure of the city. As we speak, in the South Durban Basin, there are thousands of workers who work for Toyota and the other industries around there, your SAPREF, who are still sitting at home weeks after the floods because the recovery of the operations there is still underway. Now, that is a loss of income for the city because those people are supposed to contribute to this economy to one way or the other, and the industry is served through rates and these other levies. The draft budget, we want to welcome the 150 million rands increase in the OPEX. We are welcoming this because we know that it seeks to address the operations that are needed to bring our city back to operations. I said earlier that I was a bit happier that these floods happened during an awkward time in our budget cycle when we were nearing the end of the budget cycle, and therefore we could not engage most contractors, and therefore municipal employees were seen out there doing work. And maybe that is a stance that we must take going forward, that most of the services need to be done internally to ensure that we build the capacity of the state to deliver to its service, to its citizens. Honorable Speaker, I also, on behalf of the ANC, welcome the social package of this budget. The exemption of residential properties valued below 350,000 rands from paying rates is welcome. We are welcoming that simply because some of the RDP houses that we gave out, say in 5 years' time, they have now, because of the government interventions in ensuring that people have some money in their pockets, now a person, a Mr. Madlala somewhere would have put some aluminum windows and painted and put something on that RDP house. Now that RDP house is worth more than 350,000. So if we said that person did not have money 5 years ago, it still doesn't have money now, but if we did not implement this, we're going to be asking for rates for that person. So we appreciate this, Honorable Speaker. The exemption of properties owned by the elderly, people with disabilities, those who are medically burdened, child-headed households, and other categories of vulnerable groups that are less than 2.5 million rands. The exemption of those households, the houses that are valued below 2.5 million rands from paying rates, is a welcome proposal by the ANC. The maintenance of the 6 kiloliters of free water to the indigent families, the maintenance of the free 50 kilowatts of electricity to the indigent family is welcome. The introduction of the 100 rands flat rate for the Ingonyama Trust areas is welcome, Honorable Speaker. We think this is going to assist to fund development in these areas and to ensure that these areas are treated and feel like they are part of the city as they are. Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the Mayor, the Deputy Mayor, yourself and the whip of this council. I want to thank the leader of the opposition, Councillor Nicole Graham, and all leaders of political parties in this council who've been on the ground during the floods, ensuring that our people see that their leaders are amongst them. While we might disagree politically, but we cannot disagree on the need to be seen by the people that elected us during their times of crisis. Now we understand that this budget came at a time when we were dealing with this crisis and we did not have enough time to go out there and talk to our people as we would have wanted to. I'm sure Councillor Sabela later on will cover us on that aspect and take it to its logical conclusion. We want to also thank the acting city manager, the CFO, and all officials who ensured that this budget is presented today. It's a balanced budget. It's a budget that was compiled under very trying circumstances, but it is a respectable budget. It's a budget that says we want to be a city that attracts investors, that keep those investors that have already have faith in us as a city. It's a budget that confirms us as the sporting and visiting destination of choice among cities in Africa. It's a budget that confirms us as a caring city that cares for the affluent of its city and those who are less fortunate. With those few words, Honorable Speaker, we thank everyone that made this possible. I don't want to conclude because I said earlier that Councillor Sabel, Uslang Sky is going to take this ANC input into its logical conclusion. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Madlala. Uma kunemhlangano ye-ESCO, ubaba Mayor ujwayele ukwenza ijoke ukuthi if you are nodding hands kwi-ESCO, i-EFF ingaphakamisile, ungabavaleli ngaphandle ngoba bazophakamisa egcineni. Now I thought ukuthi that behavior will end lapha kwi-ESCO, but I can see also in council such things are happening. But me, Councilman Taban.
Am I on the floor, Speaker? Am I recognized? Thank you.
Yes, you are.
Thank you very much. Reverential greetings to you, Honorable Speaker, to the Mayor, Acting City Manager, fellow councillors, Amakosi, Sandra Slulikand, as well as the technocrats in our midst. I greet you all. Well, thank you very much for the speech, Honorable Mayor. But as the economic freedom fighters, we want to register our concerns around some of the things that you have said before we go straight to budget and what should happen from now, moving forward. You spoke about stopping evictions in Virginia Airport. And I want to challenge the consistency there. Because in Ward 60, the very same city went and demolished houses built in bricks without even a court order. But because people of Virginia are white, are privileged, they have money to take you to court, you decide to halt evictions. So, thank you. We just want to register our concerns around that the people of eThekwini are not treated equally, are not treated fairly. If you don't have money, your house must just be demolished without even a court order. Not to mention the fact that social movement, Abahlali baseMjondolo, have won numerous court cases against eThekwini, but none of that was rectified. So it's also our concern as economic freedom fighters. Furthermore, you spoke about 1,000 power stations that have been fixed. We are grateful for that. You also spoke about those that are constantly being damaged and stolen. Now, the question that arises from there is that here in eThekwini, you have 8 security companies that are contracted here in eThekwini. What is it that they are doing? They invoice exorbitant monies every month, but our infrastructure is getting damaged everywhere. What is it that they are doing? So it's our concern. Even us, we are not even safe. We have incidences where our employees are attacked at work, and this is really upset when we pay so much money every month to security. Going to the issue of the day, which is the budget. We know that EFF always give a way forward. I can see here in this house, there's a stalemate. So you just waited for us, Speaker, to give a way forward. Speaker, we acknowledge the budget and we thank the CFO and the team for trying to balance the budget under the circumstances. As the EFF caucus, we resolve that we should support the budget as it is and adopt it today, but not limited to any later amendments. The budget addresses emergency issues which relates to disaster, erection of low-cost houses, replacements of damaged infrastructure. It also speaks to relief in terms of rent rebate to the indigenous communities of eThekwini. Above it all, it speaks to expropriation of land. Whether is without compensation, it is immaterial to us as the economic freedom fighters, because all what we need is land for our people. We also acknowledge the shortfall in the human settlement infrastructure. However, we're also mindful of the fact that we can take a decision here. The law allows us that we can take a decision here. After 3 months, we can always review that decision. I think the law allows us. Maybe a legal advisor can advise otherwise. But there is no time for delay, Honorable Speaker. We cannot afford to reconvene and waste resources. We have heard the mayor saying that our people are crying in Claremont. They want service delivery now. They want jobs now. So why waiting for 7 days? Let's approve it now. So as the EFF, we want to approve this budget, but we're not limited to any additions. We can always inject in the infrastructure department. we can always inject in the human settlement. So we would like, as the economic freedom fighters, to move and give direction and do it now. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mia. Councillor Sabel.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Hey, EFF, you never cease to amaze us. The divide and rule.
You are not audible enough.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I was saying, Speaker, the EFF are true politicians. They never stop to amaze us because now they are dingling a carrot to us that they will vote with us. With an intention to divide and rule and rule the ruling coalition in the municipality. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. We are smarter than that.
Oh, comrade.
Order.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to start my debate with a quote by Peter Drucker. He says, "The greatest danger in times of turbulences is not turbulence itself, but to act with yesterday's logic." Now, it should tell us that because we're in a time of turbulence and crisis, we need not to act like all is normal and how we acted before. We need to act with a new approach, which the Mayor of eThekwini has led us with that, which I'll deliberate later. I want to start by greeting the Honorable Speaker, Councillor Nyawose, the Mayor of our municipality, Councillor Kaunda, the Deputy Mayor of our municipality, Babu Mavundla, members of the executive, councillors present here today, ndikhuleke kumakhosi asendlunkulu, nina besilo, nina benkayishane kamenze yaphuza umlaza ngameva. Siyakhuleka kumakhosi asendlunkulu. Honorable Speaker, the whole process of this budget has been through a proper consultation process. When the Mayor first came to the Executive Committee with a proposal for budget hearings, the opposition raised the fact that they feel that these consultations can be made broader. Some of the consultation can go online. Some of the consultations can go to minority areas where the Mayor can engage with different stakeholders, including business. We heeded to that call because we are not thinking with yesterday's logic anymore. We heeded to that call and we included everyone in the consultation, and the budget hearings went very well, led by our Mayor under very difficult conditions after facing what I call the triple crisis. But Mayor, you have presented a solid budget to this municipality today, and we can see light at the end of the tunnel. You have presented hope to the citizens of our municipality who are watching us today, and they eagerly await the implementation of this budget, which is pro-poor. It has been a very big concern in our municipality, the issue of safety. In today's budget, you have spoken to us about the increase of Metropolis by 200 new members that will be implemented in this financial year. As residents of our municipality, we can't wait. We also call upon you to ensure the cooperation between the Metro Police and the South African Police Services. But Mayor, you have given a fresh hope to the people of our city by ensuring the success of the catalytic projects that we have. What do I mean by that is that these catalytic projects will bring the much awaited job interventions that are needed by our people. Thousands and thousands of jobs will be created in these catalytic projects. We want to congratulate you, Bab Mayor, on successfully ensuring the implementation of these catalytic projects. In a few days' time, you are going to be launching a global hotel on Friday, the Radisson Blue. It's of an international standard. So you are going to be launching that hotel on Friday, which brings an intervention to our people with regards to jobs. It has created thousands and thousands of jobs, and it continues to create more jobs. The entire precinct. Now you are going for the permanent jobs. The launch of the hotel means that there will now be permanent jobs, but the precinct on its own is yet to reach its full fruition. So we want to congratulate you on that milestone achievement that you have made. It's also very critical, Bab Mayor, that we thank you that you have worked around the clock. Bab Madlala has also mentioned the teaming up of all political parties represented in EXCO especially. In the time of crisis, we have seen Councillor Nicole Graham, we have seen Councillor Nkosi, we have seen Councillor Mia, we have seen Councillor Mtetwa go on the ground where our people have been affected by these floods that happened. More especially, we have seen councillors from the African National Congress all over the city responding to the challenges of our people. And it is worth mentioning, Bab Mayor, that without the resources, without you being given money by the national government and the provincial government, you have been able to restore critical infrastructure in our city. At some stage, the people of Umlazi could not go out of Umlazi, and you restored the bridge in less than a week's time. So we note your work, and we're very proud to have a mayor like yourself and the entire executive committee to work for the people of our city. It is worth mentioning that while the national and provincial government has not given us money directly, but they are also on the ground. It is worth mentioning that the national and provincial government have also come in the city and are restoring the infrastructure that belongs to them. We are happy and excited, Bab Mayor, that after almost 3 years, the tourism industry in our municipality will now come back to life. We have had a bustling city for decades now, with a tourism industry that was a fancy for many, many cities across the globe. We had become the Africa's playground, and now, Bab Mayor, you are proposing that we revive what for almost 3 years had not been functioning because of the challenges that we have faced, COVID-19, the floods, the civil unrest, and many other challenges that have been faced by the tourism industry. Now we all know that the tourism industry is also anchored by events. And therefore, Bab Mayor, these destination promotion events that are going to be coming up, your Durban July and many others, are going to ensure that our economy is revived, our tourism industry is revived, our artists have work, our small business providers have work, those who provide marquees, those who may be selling voice roles in these events, those who can be artists performing, those who can be providing sound, those who are going to be selling alcohol, those small entrepreneurs that benefit from these events are going to be able to once more make a living. So we want to thank you, and we want to give you a clear support towards those programs. As I end, we want to say this budget represents the aspirations of our people. We have listened to all and sundry. We have listened to opposition party members. We have listened to business. We have listened to our citizens. And we have come up with this package. But more information has come up that we feel we can still consider for this budget. We will therefore support this budget as the ANC, but we want to make a proposal so that we can incorporate these other suggestions that were made by, amongst others, the EFF. And therefore we have presented the budget, but we want to propose that in 7 days' time, we come back and we are able to adopt this budget. So the African National Congress moves. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sabelo. Councillors, we are on point 4. There's a
Speaker.
Yes, there's a hand there.
Thank you. Honourable Speaker and fellow councillors, Action SA has several concerns with the budget before us. Firstly, Action SA is concerned that this budget does not address insourcing. Insourcing restores the dignity of low-ranking officials and moves them away from exploitation by tenderpreneurs when these services are outsourced. We believe that the contract services on the budget must be significantly reduced and be reserved for specialised skills. This will afford the municipality an opportunity to employ a greater labour force with adequate pay, thus reducing the amount of outsourcing in the city that is currently aiding corrupt elements and hampering service delivery. Secondly, Action SA is concerned about the high tariff increases that businesses are faced with. Businesses are the lifeblood of a municipal economy. Without business, a municipality will not be able to function and provide services to its residents. Businesses in eThekwini have been faced with COVID. Businesses in eThekwini have been faced with civil unrest and looting. Businesses in eThekwini have been faced with 2 floods. Businesses in eThekwini have been faced with poor service delivery and a municipality
Your
plagued
time
with
is up,
corruption.
Councillor. Your time is up. Thank you very much.
Uvela manje lona ubekhuluma.
Hayi kahle wena.
Babu Kwala, then Babu Ndlovu.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Speaker.
Yes, Babu
That
Ndlovu.
gentleman was given 2 minutes.
I just wanted to remind you that Action SA normally has 1 minute, but because we are dealing with the budget debate, they're supposed to have 2 minutes. So you only gave them 1 minute there on your screen. They have 1 more minute left.
They've been given 1 minute.
No, Speaker.
30 seconds is enough.
Yeah. No, even on budget is 1 minute.
Speaker.
Yeah, rules allows that.
Speaker.
You remember that in the Speaker's Committee, I shared that information with you. You can refer to your note, what we've discussed yesterday in the Speaker's Committee. Let's not waste time because we are aware that...
but you are wrong, Speaker.
What is
No, I'm correct.
No, you are
Babu
wrong.
Kwala?
Ngiyamthanda amavoti wabukubheka lento.
But Speaker.
No, angibonge somlomo. Mina i-clarity nje mhlawumbe bengifisa ukuyithola.
Speaker.
Sekhulumile
Babu Kwala, sorry, Babu Kwala. Babu Kwala?
Speaker.
Akube neqiniso speaker. I-minority front ubanikezile 2 minutes. Now mase kufika ku-action SA sekukhona ama-issues. Bengicela speaker ukuthi sinikezwe leli thuba njengoba esho uNyamboza. Ngiyabonga.
Thank you bokubheka ngithi la kwi-council. Zikhona izinto speaker nje akwazi ukuthi uma uyicela kunike ngokomsa wakhe, but there are things that are documented.
Speaker.
There are things where they are documented, they are part of the rules, where even the speaker is not empowered to entertain them. Unfortunately,
you gave the other gentleman 2 minutes just now.
Yeah,
Are you willing to take a
unfortunately,
minute from the ANC?
unfortunately isicelo sakho babukubheka asizumukele nokwenzekile kwabakhona iphathi ekwenzekile yawuthiwa lo 2 minutes ngephutha futhi nje kwenzekile, but in terms of the rules there is time document recorded. Babukwala?
Honorable Speaker.
Speaker.
The ANC wants to intervene, Babu Speaker. Action essay.
Speaker.
Action essay. I just want to check if we are willing to accept anything from the ANC. We have a minute to spare.
Honorable Speaker.
Is action, if they are willing to accept the votes of the ANC, we are donating.
Order.
We are donating a minute, Honorable Speaker, if they are willing to accept the votes of the ANC. That minute belongs to the voters of the ANC. So we are donating a minute, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Untitled. I'm not sure about the donation of a minute with the condition attached to that donation. But let's do this, councillors. Let's do this so that we don't delay the meeting unnecessarily. The councillor who spoke earlier from the ACDP or Action SA, yeah, and I will then, yes, I will then give you an extra minute to speak, and then I will do the same to other speakers. You can conclude your point, then I will move to Councillor Kwala. Councillor Graham?
No.
So order, Councillor Graham?
Speaker, unlike Councillor Sabela,
Order, please, order.
We don't give things with conditions. On a serious note, Action SA can have the rest of our time. We have got 4 minutes left. Action SA can have all of them.
No.
Thank you.
Yeah. Councillor, can you conclude your point? Order. Babu Kwala, apologies for that. You'll come after.
So the second point we're raising is that we're concerned with the high tariffs that businesses face, and just the point that eThekwini needs business more than business needs eThekwini, and a lot of businesses are closing up and moving to other municipalities where they appreciate it. And then thirdly, Speaker, Action SA remains very concerned with the high amount of debt that is owed by government departments and state-owned entities. This ANC-led municipality has allowed ANC-led government departments and state-owned entities to rock up a massive amount of debts without consequences. At the end of March, its outstanding debt was in excess of 1 billion. This represents 2% of the municipality's budget. Prior to talking about borrowings and raising tariffs, the municipality should be collecting this billion. Why should residents and business be penalized through tariff increases due to the inability to collect debt from ANC-led government departments and state-owned entities? For the above reasons, Action SA will be voting against the budget unless these accommodations are made. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kwala.
Angibonge somlomo. La clarity nje. Kukhulunyiwe kakhulu la abahlonishwa kakhulukazi umeya nomhlonishwa uthanda uxolo. Kodwa khona lesalile engazi ukuthi isala kanjani. Kumanje sikhulume ngophepho oqashwa abantu. Sabizwa la kodwa sisatshelwa lutho sekukhulunywa nabantu emakhoneni. Ibudget leyo ngoba imali. I-CIP programs ayiveli kulelo khuzana. Kodwa ikhuluma ngokuthi ayiphelele mayinje ya. Kukhona ama-gym nje kuphela, azikho ezinye izinto emawadini. Angazi nami clarity ikhona entweni enjalo, ngiyabonga.
Thank you. Councillor Ndlovu.
Ngiyabonga Somlomo. Khona into Somlomo la engifuna iphume icacile. To convene this council meeting cost a lot of money. Wonke ama-speakers akhulumile la, and more especially even from the ANC themselves, they've been saying le budget yinhle, consultation is done and everything else. Now we must reconvene in the next 7 days, spend another money, taxpayers' money, which should be feeding abantu abaswele emaholo, emjondolo labahleli khona, to just to nurse ama feelings abanye ngezinto which might happen in the next 2 weeks. Why can't we adjust whatever that needs to be adjusted and adopt a budget so that we can go out and help our people? So we are delaying our people out there simply because of our own reasons, which we don't know. So we, the EFF, are rejecting the issue that you are saying you must be given 7 days. For what? Why didn't you adjust, or if needed, you had enough time to do this budget? Why didn't you then rectify whatever that needs to be rectified, come here so that we can adopt this budget? Our black people are suffering, and you want us to delay those people. It is wrong. Then, Somlong, it must be clear, it is you, the ANC, who are refusing to adopt this budget, or who are delaying our people out there in terms of this budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillors, we are on page. I want us to, there's a hand, Deputy Mayor, Councillor Mavundla.
Ibonga Somlomo, just I'll be very quick. There's a lot to say, Speaker, but I just want to assist the last speaker. I'm challenging the last speaker to go to page 40 of his budget and look under the heading called project not funded for or fully funded, that will be funded when funding becomes available. If he really cares about abantu baseThekwini, as he is saying, this should be a worry to him. And those of us who are progressive, we've looked at this and say, we need to revisit it. Just that is one of many other things. But obviously, my good comrade has not read his budget. Hence, he's making the comments that he's making. Speaker, with your permission. Speaker, with your permission, it will be unfair if I don't answer on the issue of water for Utongat, with specific. You know, Tongat, Speaker, people, they can talk as much as they want. But what I know, I've personally taken the National Minister of Water and Sanitation twice to Tongat. I've taken the Deputy Minister of Water and Sanitation 4 times to Tongat, and I've taken the other Deputy Minister once. I've been there, I can't count how many times. The councillors in Otongati, Councillor Yoki Kavend has got 4 trucks allocated to her. I can give you the mileage done by the trucks delivering the water. I can give you the contact person and the registration of those. Same thing with Councillor Dolly, same thing with Councillor Nen. But when we speak here, we speak as if there's absolutely nothing that is being done. We've spent money trying to lay the line to take the water to the people of Otongati. Because of challenges that are known by almost all the councillors with the source of water or the availability of water, we are sitting where we are sitting, not because we are absolutely doing nothing. But when people talk here, they talk as if, no, there's nothing being done. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Sunita Maharaj.
Thank you, Speaker. I thank the Mayor for a detailed presentation of the
budget and for taking it to the people. The Minority Front's view is that while the tariff increases for electricity and water is expected of any municipality, eThekwini cannot boast that it did not increase residential rates, because the fact is that with the new valuations of property, many residents from Chatsworth, Phoenix, Clare Estate, Reservoir Hills, etc., complained that the value of their properties increased excessively, and accordingly their rates. In this way, the council was creative in generating its revenue. In respect of the informal settlement, the upgrade is necessary, but at what cost? Will the bigger or richer users have to cross-subsidize the electrification of the informal settlement? The Minority Front is surprised that the promised 1 billion rand flood relief from National for the people of KZN now has to be shared with the Eastern Cape. Finally, our people need water and electricity right now, and if National does not trust eThekwini's capacity, then it should advance flood relief monies to the provincial Kokta or send out national service providers. The Minority Front supports, however, these budgeting decisions because the suffering of the people is too great, and we hope that our recommendations are seriously considered. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillors, I've got two last hands, right? But I want to remind you before I note those hands that we still have a long agenda that we have to deal with in our normal council agenda. Now, the more I'm giving you a chance to speak, you must be considerate of time because it's getting late, but I don't want to suppress you. Let me take these last two hands. Then Babu Mthetho, then there was a hand.
No,
There was
thank
a
you, Chair.
hand. Kulungile, I will come to you.
I'll take just 1 minute.
Yeah.
Because I think those of us who made submissions that we seriously think they should be incorporated in this budget, we need to give clarity here. We are discussing here the 2022-2023 budget, which should kick in on the 1st of July. Not tomorrow, not next week. So whether you approve it today or not, you're still going to have to come back here within 7 days and pass it. You're still within the stipulated time, so there's no delay. I just wanted to give clarity there.
Yeah, the
There's
last
no
hand,
delay.
Bob Mayor.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for being progressive. I think here there is a general sentiment. We should not just waste time and waste the taxpayers' money. There's a general sentiment here. The Minority Front have just spoken. They support the budget. ANC have given us a similar speech like January 8, but they want the budget. We want the budget under the circumstances. Now, my worry, if someone can give me here a scientific evidence, because I fully, also, Ubabu Mavunda, Deputy Mayor, I also agree with him that there should be some additional. Now, I'm saying in terms of the law, we are allowed to change a decision after 3 months. Even if he was going, his department was going to be given 100 billion tomorrow, he would not have used that money in 3 months' time. So let's pass the budget, save money, because I will challenge you, Speaker, to say how much have you spent? Tell the community of eThekwini how much have you spent to organize this? How much is that catering?
Don't rush.
Can I be protected?
Order, councillors.
Can I be protected?
Yes, you can speak.
So
Bob
now
Mayor.
we're speaking with one voice, except the DA and the IFP, that is Njimbanjim. Now we're speaking with one voice. Now, what is this delay for? Because it came up in the report from the mayor that there's an urgent need of service delivery. So,
Order, councillors, let's not disturb the meeting.
Let us be mindful. There is no train smash here. Whatever is needed to be injected will be injected. But let's not delay service delivery. I'm pleading with you, I'm pleading with this council. Let's not try to spin doctor things politically.
Try to conclude, Bob Mayor.
Yes, as I'm closing. Let's not try to spin doctor politically, but let's think financially as well. I think DA will agree with me on that one. That, let's think financially, let's adopt the budget now, we're all in agreement. We also agree that infrastructure and human settlement has a shortfall. We need to inject more money there so that we can solve these problems. So, thank you very much, Speaker.
Babunkosi, Council Nkomen, then Bab Madala.
No, Speaker, it's just a request to you, so that in the future we won't face this problem. Please, just stick on the induction of the councillors, so then councillors will understand how does the budget work. So I'm just requesting you to do that, so then they will be assisted. Thank you.
Order, councillors.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. No,
Order, let's give councillor a chance to speak.
we are all trained drivers, Speaker. So, lengozi efuna ukusifaka kuyona EFF sizoshayisa. So, sihamba careful nje. Asingangeni kule ngozi abafuna ukusifaka kuyona. Thank you, Speaker.
And Councillor Madala, the last.
You are submissive, one.
Siyabonga kakhulu Baba Speaker kunehubo lamawesele ngilithanda kabe lithi umlingi engaphezi. Nangu umlingi ngaphesheya kaphezi.
Wakhuluma umthakathi yabuzwa.
Ngicela ukuthatha Baba Speaker so that even for a person who's a guest in this house who does not understand the politicking, I want us to go to the report that was tabled here, the report of the Executive Committee, page 4 of that report. I want us to start from bullet point number 1 on the top. It says, just a line before that, it says the issues raised as needing improvements are summarized as follows. Those are the issues that were raised at the Executive Committee meeting. It says 1, collective effort to request funding due to be released by National Treasury for flood damage to reduce loan borrowings. There was a concern that the 1.5 billion rands loan borrowing that we are proposing in the budget is exorbitant. And the motivation was that we are adding the 0.5 because money that was promised has not came through, and therefore we need to prepare for the worst case scenario. Now, if we are in the next 2 days, there's an indication that we are going to get something, then that borrowing might be reduced. That is what the Executive Committee was saying. Secondly, reduction in security costs, overtime costs, staff bonuses, and salary increments. Now, it said, the Executive Committee said there are frills. That is what Councillor Graham called it. She said it's frills. There are frills in the budget that if we could cut here and there, we can be able to firm up on some of the real service delivery issues instead of those frills. Now, we are asking for Council to give us an opportunity to go and explore that. There's a whole lot of consultation that needs to happen if you are going to do that, and you're going to need time. Thirdly, reduction in events considered not beneficial to the city. Fourthly, relooking budget of trading services to cover the shortfall, as Usobantu, Deputy Mayor, was pointing out relevant areas. Improve consultation with Ingonyama Trust. There was a concern that the flat rate that we are proposing in the budget of 100 rands per household is very progressive, but it would not if sufficient consultation has not been done with Amakosa Sentunkulu. And if we are not adopting today, we'll have sufficient time to actually consult on that. Maybe we'll go there and they'll say, no, it's too little, maybe let's raise it. We don't know. Lastly, focus on land acquisition and expropriation to also have sufficient land to remove people from the floodplains. That point was made by the EFF. this point that says in the executive committee represented by Ubawumia, it says focus on land acquisition and expropriation to also have sufficient land to remove people from the floodplains. Now, what he was saying is that he does not see it expressly stated in the budget what is going to be done about the people that are living in floodplains. He wants to see it in the budget. Now, he said we need time, in agreeing that we need more time. Now, I'm not surprised when they then come here and umlingi engasaphes. Now, in the recommendations that come from the executive committee, there are two recommendations in front of us. The first recommendation, 1.1, it says, the council receives and deliberates on the 2022-2023, 2024-2025 medium-term revenue and expenditure of the municipality and its entities tabled in terms of section 16.2 of the Local Government Municipal Finance Management Act number 56 of 2003. Now we have satisfied that because the budget has been tabled as per the prescripts of this legislation. It further says it must be tabled for consideration. What we've been doing here is the consideration. Now, what is missing is the last part where we adopt. Now we are saying, as this council, we must give ourselves time, and the time is stipulated. It says 7 days to come back and approve the budget that was tabled and we've deliberated upon. But the difference is that when we come back to approve the budget, we would have firmed up on some of these concerns that are arising. Now, some of them cannot be done in terms of what is being proposed there, waiting for 3 months and readjusting and all of that. They need to be done now, in the matter of today, tomorrow, or the 3rd day. Like the consultation, you cannot consult after effect in any of these areas, and the areas where you need to move money to ensure that things are done correctly. And therefore, I was just reminding so that we are proper. As the ANC, we have proposed that having received the tabling of the budget, having considered it, we are now requesting that we are indulged by the House to say we'll come back in 7 days and pass this budget. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Councillors, is the recommendation agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you, City Manager.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The next item is the approval of the final draft 2022-2023 Integrated Development Plan Committee recommends.
Councillors, is the recommendation agreed? Thank you, City Manager.
Item number 3, approval of the loan debt.
Sorry, Jomani.
Thank you, Speaker. On item number 2, just to get clarity, what is being agreed upon? Is it the recommendation that it be dealt with after 7 days, or is it the approval of the IDP itself?
Item 2.
Is the deferment for 7 days?
7 days. 7 days.
Speaker.
Thank you, City Manager.
Maybe Speaker,
Thank you very much, Speaker.
Sorry, Councilman Mandela.
Maybe let us then read it to record that what we are proposing is that the budget and all the related items be deferred for 7 days. That will mean your IDP and all the other composite items that are relating to the IDP in terms of the legislation will be passed or approved in 7 days' time. Thank you, Speaker.
Yeah, thank you, councillors. With the guidance from legal and the addition in terms of the resolution, do we agree, councillors?
Supported 100%.
Thank you, City Manager.
Thank you very much. Item number 3, the approval of the loan or debt agreement borrowing 1 billion for capital projects. Committee recommends.
Councillors, is the report agreed?
Agreed.
No, Speaker.
Thank you. Councillor Graham?
No, we don't agree.
Okay? Let me get the numbers on the screen. Let me get the numbers. Let me get those who are the ANC. Do you support the item or not, ANC?
ANC supports.
Thank you. TA? ANC, okay. EFF?
We support.
Thank you. IFP? Action SA?
Don't support.
APC? ACC?
Abstain.
ACTP?
Against.
AIC?
Support.
DLC? I can't hear DLC.
Against.
ATEC? Ageko? APF?
Support.
Thank you. ATM? ATM? Al-Jama? HAEP?
JP support.
KZNI? MF?
Support.
MOSA? NFP? PFP? PRM? PRM?
Support.
TA? UIM?
Against.
Freedom Front Plus?
Against.
Okay, let me get the total. Charlie?
Speaker, one mistake, yes, Speaker. Actually, I think that.
Yeah, Freedom Front Plus against. Yeah? Yeah. Yeah, let me correct the numbers. Let me do this. Freedom Front Plus,
No, Speaker. Speaker.
Against.
order.
Bangena kanjani lapha?
Councillors, I just want to order, Vugani, order. Let me get the numbers correct. Freedom Front Plus, are you supporting or against?
Freedom Front Plus is against it.
But I can't hear you. Can you please raise your voice?
Freedom Front Plus against.
Okay, against, thank you. Let's record that. Mosa, they're not here. Atek is not here. Let me conclude the numbers. I will take them down.
Sebeqalile.
Okay, Babu Kwale, you seem have an issue you want to raise. No. Talk to me, Babu Kwale. What is the problem?
Khuluma empopeni kwala.
Athi nawe kwala tuphuzitile. Ade semnyango kwala.
Kwala uphume emnyango.
Lungisa
Kwala, ngoba uabstainile nje Nkosi yami.
Councillors, as I'm sitting here, I rely mostly on the team on the floor that support the work I'm doing here. They monitor the movement of councillors. As we have indicated earlier when I was addressing you, that during the voting process, no one is allowed to move outside and to come in. And those people who are doing that should not be counted. And the team on the ground is quite aware of that. Now, I'm not sure whether it is correct that there are some people who were counted while they were outside. If that has happened, it is unfortunate and it needs to be addressed. As I'm sitting here, I can't see that, but I rely on my team and I trust them. Let me appeal, councillors, that we start this process of voting so that we reconfirm the numbers of councillors who are inside so that there's no doubt to the process. Let me get an indication from the ANC. Can you please close the door? Close the door. Please close the door. Those who are outside won't be counted. No movement, please. No movement, please, councillors. ANC, DA.
No.
We are starting afresh, councillors, because I want the process to eliminate any doubt. Please close the door. No one should come in. Councillors, order. What we are doing now, we are starting the process from scratch, right? We are trying to start the whole process. No one should. Please close that door. Please, who's that person who's opening the door? Who's that person there? No, obalo mfushani nalo vula isicaba. No problem. Listen, councillors. There are two elapha ngizobakhipha laba ngibazobala abami lapha. Abavula isicaba njani? Yes. Councillors, let me my team on the floor, let's confirm the numbers. Secretariat, please, let's confirm the numbers. We're starting from scratch now. No movement. Please close the door.
They want to go to toilet.
Sorry, order, councillors. Again, obala about two. Night two, about two. Obala. Ngicela baphume la two lapha. Cha baphume la bantu bavula umnyango njalo bangihlupha la bawu2 lapha. Yibo la bavula umnyango lapha abenza iprocess ibe questionable. That two. Obala bawu2 lapha emnyango. But no. But those people are causing chaos. They keep on opening that door. Councillors, Secretariat, please confirm the numbers. Let's confirm the numbers, Secretariat. Let's update this report. Councillors, order, we are confirming numbers. Councillor Kumete.
Secretary Hlambeko.
Let's update numbers, Secretariat.
Somlomo sitha siyicelele sileli ukuze sokwazi ukuhlonipha uma ngabe kuwukuthi awuqala ukulungisa from lapha etafuleni eliseduze kwakho okuyilona elifaka iy'namba ngoba from the time abantu bengaphandle bayangena it doesn't change ifigi ilokhu imile basangaphakathi it doesn't rise up iproblem ilapho kulelo tafula lakho lapho phambili not even saying abantu abangena ngomnyango so if kuwukuthi fanele thina sikulalele as opposition awuqala ulungise ama-officials before you come to ama-councillors.
Ya kodwa council committee uzovumelana nami ukuthi bese ngishilo vele ukuthi ngithembe bona kodwa bekunephutha elenzekile ngaze ngathi kuyishwa mekunjalo hence iprocess siqala phansi ngoba that complaint is brought to my attention njengamanje siyayilungisa. I'm sorry about that. Let's confirm the numbers, councillors.
Kodwa fake neyibuku council comment.
Ububelinda pho.
Let's update numbers.
Wena wenza into esile. Hayi.
Sibanga King. Councillors, numbers have been updated and we are 207. We are 207. We are starting the process again of voting on this item. Please again, akube order, no movement while we are voting.
Kuala.
Councillors, before we start the voting process, let me confirm whether is ATEC part of the meeting.
No.
Okay. Mosa, are you part of the meeting?
No.
Okay, that's fine. Let's confirm those two are not part of the meeting. Let's start again, councillors. Sorry about this. ANC?
Yes.
DA?
Mr. Speaker.
We're against, Speaker.
EFF? EFF?
Yes. 4.
IFP? Action SA?
Against.
Action SA? I can't hear. Action SA?
Against.
Thank you. APC? Thank you. ACC? ACC? ACC, please respond. ACTP, I can't hear you. Are you not responding or abekho ngaphakathi hall?
Against ACTP, against.
ACC?
I'll give my vote in a moment if you give me a chance. I'm just consulting with my party leader.
Angimuzwa kabi ukhulumayo. Where is ACC? Can you please raise your hand? Are you part of the meeting? Can you please respond? Are you supporting or you against?
Is still consulting, Mr. Speaker.
Support.
But we are on the phone, councillor.
He's speaking to the
Okay, ACTP.
In each item, are you going to contact, sir?
Councillors, please order. I can't hear the response from councillors. ACTP?
ACTP against.
AIC? AIC? No response. AIC?
In support, Speaker.
Thank you. DLC? ADEC is not part of the meeting. APF?
Support.
Thank you. ATM?
Support.
Al-Jama? Al-Jama?
Not here.
Not here. JEP?
JEP support.
KZNI?
KZNI support.
MF? MF?
Support.
No, I know the voice of the AFFF. MF?
She support. I speak for her.
Support.
Mosa is not present. NFP?
NFP support.
PFP?
Support PFP.
PRM? PRM? Abeko? PRM?
Support.
Thank you. UIM? No, TA, sorry. TA support, UIM?
UIM against.
UIM?
Against.
Against? Freedom Front Plus?
Against.
Against. Let's tally the numbers, please. Yeah, ACC, they're not here. Let's put 0 there. Like ATEC and MOSA because they're not present. It's ATEC, ACC, and MOSA.
ACC is here.
Speaker, ACC is present.
No, I've called them, they've not responded.
Support. Support.
He had a problem with his mic.
We support it, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, thanks, councillors. Those who are in support is 130. Those who are against is 62. Those who are abstaining, they are 15. Therefore, the item is being supported and carried through. Thank you, City Manager.
Item number 4, participation of traditional and Khoisan leaders in Municipal Council. Committee recommends.
Item number 4, councillors, is the commission agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you, City Manager.
The last one, Speaker, is number 5, proposed amendments for the main collective agreement. Committee recommends.
Agreed. Agreed.
Thank you, councillors. Is the commission agreed?
Agreed. Yeah, we are done with it. Yeah, with the special meeting.
Yeah, councillors, what we'll do now, because we have prepared tea, I have seen some of you have already served yourself. I want to give you a short break You have tea, then we come back and deal with the normal agenda of council. Councillor Madlala? Order.
Thank you very much, Speaker.
Order, councillors, please
We-
settle down.
We want to propose, as the ANC, want to propose, Speaker, that when we get back to the normal agenda, we reprioritize it. It's now 4:45, and soon it's going to be dark, and we know that some councillors have a problem getting home when it's dark. So we are proposing that we use this time of tea to reprioritize the normal agenda and see if we can prioritize issues that are important. And propose that since we are going to have a meeting in 7 days, that meeting does not only deal with the passing of the budget, but also we take some of the issues that would have been deferred today. That is our proposal, Speaker.
Agreed.
Councillors, while you are supporting the proposal, while you are having tea, let me have a short meeting with whips of parties. Can I request whips to come this side?
Speaker. Speaker. But people don't know what time they're supposed to be back here. Uzobalanda.
Whip of parties, please come this side. I will not take much of your time, please.